All right, man. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no worries. Once I heard about that thing, I'm like, I got like five different YouTube channels. Which one you want? Yeah. Um. Yeah. So, where do you want to start with all this then?
Yeah, I don't know if you wanted to go immediately into your experience or if you wanted to do, I don't know.
Um.
This is, I guess, my first time speaking since my channel got terminated.
Oh,
So,
you're good. You're good. Yeah. No. So, for those of you who don't know me, obviously for video purposes, my name is Quinn Yaussy. If you live in the Antelope Valley area, you knew my dad, and so you know half my story. However, this all began with the church in 2018. I was like, God, what was I? I was 20, going on 21. So I'm 28 now. I'm gonna be 29 this year. Uh, so I was actually reached out to, uh, and for the sake of this, I'm only gonna say certain names. So for this case, I was reached out to at the time their campus ministry leader, on AVC, Antelope Valley College campus, and at the time, I was I'm still a loner, kind of to this day. I got very few friends who I associate with, obviously. Um, so it was mainly they reached out to me, kind of saw the loneliness, and like, hey, why don't you come out and everything, blah blah blah. I'm like, nah, I don't do that kind of thing. Whatever. Months went by, I get a message from that guy. Like it's like April when this happens, and I don't get the message until June. So I'm like, okay, well, fuck it. Let me go out there and see what it's about, right? They were meeting out in Palmdale at the time,
Hmm.
at the Embassy Suites Hotel out there.
Wait, so when they reached out to you initially, like, how did they greet you? Did they just say, like, did they just ask if you were a Christian or if
Yeah,
you?
it was kind of along those lines. The kind of like the whole, not necessarily a script they give you. They just tell you what you should and shouldn't say, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, in my particular case, it was they're like, "Hey, have you ever gone to church or anything? Have you ever studied the Bible?" I'm like, "No, I've gone to church when I was younger. It wasn't my thing." Um, but thanks, man. I appreciate it. Again, we're like this is like during like the last few weeks of a semester. Like everybody's kind of just like scrambling for finals and
Yeah.
whatnot. Give me a sec. Making sure everything's good. Okay, we're good. Uh, and so whatever. I completely forget about it. I get a message, and it's inviting me out to this church service, and I'm like, all right, you know what? My parents are currently like, I think they were like out of the country or something, like visiting, whatever. I didn't want to go because I had already been out of the country like 3 times to Italy before, and I'm like, I just want to stay. I want to go drive to my hometown, in San Diego. Like me and my family, we're all from SD. So I was like, all my best friends were out there at the time, my childhood best friends, and I'm like, well, I'll just go stay with my grandparents at the time and go hang out with you guys. So I did, and then they were still out of the country, and I had gone to one of their services like a following Sunday. I got back or whatever, and
Hmm.
the leader at the time were the Inkleys, Preston and Shauna Inkley. Yeah. Um.
So actually, what's funny enough is I did do a reaction video to Preston Inkley because he was the lead evangelist of Oregon. That's where I was at in ICC at the
Okay.
time where I was there, and
So
he's the
so
one who actually reached out to me.
got it. So this had to be after 2019 then.
Yes, it was about 2021. Yeah, fall of 2021.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, yeah. So you know the Inkleys, you know your experience with them. I had a what is it? Oh, God, I'm trying to remember that far back. Okay, so I went there, whatever. They're asking me, "Do you want to study the Bible?" I'm like, "We can hang out or whatever." And they're like, "Okay, cool, yeah, yeah, yeah." So while we're doing there, they're kind of like, I didn't know it until like halfway through, but they were kind of doing a mini Bible study with me, and I'm like, "Wait a minute." Like it didn't key into me until like halfway through, and I'm like, I told you guys I kind of didn't want to do this. I was cool just showing up or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, being friends or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, well, can you give this a try or something?" Like they kind of like almost peer pressured me into doing it at the time. Like I'm 20 years old, dude. Like I'm just barely starting college at this point. Um, and whatever. I did those studies. They lived in this kind of really trashy apartment. Like if you know the Lancaster area, everything's trashy, but this one was
Mm.
particularly more trashy than the rest. Next to Winco Foods, so the grocery store, like right next to it. Um, yeah. So I do the Bible studies, and I did it within like, God, man, like 2 weeks. I want to say maybe less because I worked at Winco at the time. Um,
Okay. So you had no excuse in their books.
exactly. So we did the studies, whatever. I remember vividly going through 4 of the studies in like 6 hours from right then and there. Yeah.
Jeez.
Um.
In one sitting?
Oh, in one sitting. Now,
Jeez.
what got me too was like, where's the study where they were like, you gotta watch The Passion. They stopped doing that after a while, but they're like, you gotta watch this movie, the Mel
Yeah,
Gibson
that's
movie.
the cross, right?
Yeah, the cross study. Yeah. So we were like watching it or whatever, and they're like, how did you feel? And I'm like, okay. They're like, did it not make you cry? I'm like, oh, like, do you not feel anything? So I just whipped up some fake ass tears really quickly, just because I'm like, I'm never gonna get like into like your head that this doesn't affect me in any way, kind of thing. Like,
Mhm.
it's a movie, dude. It's Hollywood. um, and so whatever. After that, pretty much got baptized that same night in their like the pool, and it was the pool was locked, so they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have to jump the gate," essentially. And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
You don't know how many times I've heard a story like that where they're like, "Oh yeah, I got baptized, but essentially we were trespassing into
Yeah, yeah,
another."
we're committing crimes at the same time. Like, what? Um,
Yeah.
I'm periodically checking this. I'm so sorry. I have
Oh,
to
that's okay.
because I gotta make sure I can edit it all out. Okay, cool, cool. As far as I'm concerned, it's good. Um, yeah. So we did that. I got baptized June 18th. I get the date wrong all the time. I don't know why I forgot it. It's like June 18th, 2018. Uh, I might have that wrong. There's a
I did
guy,
want to say
the guy
something.
who originally reached out to me and baptized me tends to remind me every year. So when he does, I'll remember. I
I
just
did want to say something before we keep going. Are
yeah,
you recording via StreamYard or something else?
OBS.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, because Streamer only
Because
does the
it says on
2 hour
my
thing.
part it hasn't started recording, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're good. That's why I keep checking to make sure I'm paranoid about that. You're good. But yeah, so after that, the first 6 months, and I told this to everybody who came into the church for the first time, who I came in contact with, like, give it 6 months. You know, like it's the whole newborn phase, as they call it.
Mhm.
Uh, give it six, and I told him, give it 6 months, and you'll see what really is and what really isn't. You know, like I told her, I'm not gonna sugarcoat you. I'm not gonna BS you. Let's just give it 6 months. You'll see what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So about 8 months later, that February, my dad had passed away.
Mhm.
Um, what was kind of started the bitterness, as they called it, or resentment, was the way the news was broken to me. It wasn't by family. It was by another disciple at the time.
Mhm.
And he was living with me and my parents at the time, right?
Mhm.
Um, which was a funny story in its own. So they had a 2 bedroom apartment, but like 6 people in there. I was living with them at the time.
This is
Eh,
for a brother's household, or
mm-hmm.
okay, yeah, that makes sense then. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how.
And the landlord was like, I should have been told one of them, because the campus leader went to what was the Metro Heights area at the time, their region, and we got a guy from Central to come in for campus. She had told, because he never got put on a lease and the other guy never got taken off apparently, she was like, "You guys have 10 days to leave. I'm avoiding your evicting process, and I'm just gonna call the cops after 10 days." Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we had to move out, and unfortunately, some people just don't have the best living situation, or are gonna be too far or whatever.
Mhm.
So they asked me, "Can he come live with you and your mom?" I'm like, "That's not happening. That's definitely not happening." And they're like, "Well, can you call right now? Because we're all having a talk about this." But it's like 11:45 p.m. at night.
My goodness.
Yeah, I'm like, "Dude, you're not listening." And like, I'm telling person like, "You're not listening." He's like, he's getting more mad at me at this point. So I just gave in and was like, "All right, I'll talk to them in the morning. Okay, it's 11:45. Table this for tomorrow. You know."
Mhm.
Um, so he ended up coming living with us. My mom had to be like, I can't afford to keep you here. What I'm charging you for rent isn't enough, and I know you don't make enough. So unfortunately, you gotta. Um,
Mhm.
so it was unfortunate. That guy ended up falling away like, God, like maybe less than a year later. I don't blame him, to be honest.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So after that, I mean, while he was living with us, my dad had passed away. He broke the news to me, and like at this point, I'm like, that's not funny. Like we can fight right now. That's not funny. And so I'm like calling my mom, right? And I'm like, because they're
Mhm.
in a trip at Mammoth at this point. They're up north to like Mammoth or whatever to go skiing. I guess he had died in his sleep the night before. Um, so I got broken that news, and as this is where things get really weird. So obviously, when somebody's like family member dies, a close relative, they're gonna like support you. The church will be like, "Oh, we're gonna make you meals so you don't have to. You don't have to worry. You don't have to stress. Whatever. You know."
Mhm.
That's great gesture and all, but it's just a gesture. At the end of the day, it was something nice you guys did, but it didn't cover up what you guys did after, kind of thing. So obviously, like me and my entire family, we're grieving. Like the glue to the family just died. Like um and so as the months went by, I'm getting more and more uh depressed and everything. Really quickly, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. My thing was out. I don't know why.
Okay.
I started getting a little more and more depressed. Obviously, I just lost my dad. It's
Mhm.
understandable. Uh, and I didn't want to do certain things. So I'm like, I just want to be alone right now. You guys can go. I don't want to burden you, whatever. It got to the point where Preston got mad at me. He was like, "Well, you're just using your dad's death as an excuse not to go do things." Like
Oh
this is
wow.
like 2 months into him like being dead at this point.
Mhm.
Um, and so they were doing a quote clean sweep at the time, and they were going through a list of disciples, asking them questions, and then based if they didn't like the answers or not, you were a fall away.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I haven't heard of that personally, but
yeah.
I
This was
wouldn't.
all in 2019, like toward June. June, like May, June. Um, and at some point they're like, "Oh, well." Again, he kept on bringing up I was using my dad's death as an excuse, which I wasn't. I'm still grieving. I just
Mhm.
lost the biggest family member of my life. Thank you very much. And so I left at that point. I was like, "Goodbye, I'm out." You know.
Mhm.
About I want to say like 3 months later, I decided stupidly to come back. Uh, got restored. Uh, then that's when I think like 6 months later, maybe five, six, Preston and Shauna had left to go to Oregon, which you
Yeah.
met them there. Yeah. We had
Well,
got
I did want to ask if it's okay.
what?
Was there any reason for you going back? If you wanted to talk about that, or maybe you don't
Yeah,
have to.
I think it was just at a pure sense of loneliness and desperation.
Mhm.
I remember feeling all that, like I'm just lonely and desperate at this point. Um, so yeah, that was
It
just my.
was it like also like, oh, I like for Christianity kind of thing, or
There was a lot. I started realizing toward my last days in 2024 that I was a hypocrisy to the brainwashing. Like I would say, like I'm not part of all that, but in
Mhm.
reality, I kind of was, in a
Mhm.
way. Um, I started realizing it like as like 6 months ago. I was like, oh shit. I was brainwashed by them. Because I started feeling the same feelings over again, and I had to fight a lot of those to want to go back.
Mm.
But I was like, nope, nope. Um, and you'll get to. I'll tell you about how I decided to just drop them completely. They'll message me every now and then. I just ignore. I just laugh and ignore the texts.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so following 2019 into 2020, I think they left in 2020 to go to Portland, like beginning. We had gotten new leaders from the East Coast, Chicago. We got them from Chicago. Uh, it was Marcus Cameron and Heather. I forgot her last name. She got married to Marcus while in California in the AV region. So I don't remember what her last name was before. I completely forgot. But basically, Antelope Valley we have gotten at the time leader after leader after leader. We were just being bounced around at this point. Like
Well,
everybody knew us as a cautionary tale.
oh really?
Oh yeah, we were the worst in all of
Interesting.
LA.
Interesting, because I we went to LA for like a conference. I remember, but the way it was told, right? They would call LA like the Jerusalem, right? Um, yeah, Jerusalem.
I
And
remember
so
that.
like, the way it looked from the outside was like there were some parts of the movement, the ICC that were bigger than others, and LA seemed like this kind of like safe haven. It's filled with just a bunch of sold out disciples.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
it seemed like, at least, and that's what it was portrayed. Um,
yeah. Oh, I haven't gotten to that part yet. How I trust me, I remember all of this. Oh God, yeah. So we got bounced leader from leader. Marcus and Heather, God bless them, but they were not the greatest. They just didn't know how to deal with people, and you can see it. So they ended up getting transferred to Albuquerque. And then from LA, we got Ryan and Luz Caceres,
mm,
right? And I gave Ryan the advice, hey, like I'm from the Antelope Valley region, what's up, bro? Hey, can I be really honest with you? And he's like, yeah, I'll appreciate it. I'm like, don't let these people run you. This tends to happen.
jeez.
Yes. Like I noticed that, and it's like anyone who knows me from that region knows I'm the one who just I don't tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what I'm gonna how did I mean I can lead you to where I need you to go, but you do it on your own terms.
Mm,
It's there was only one time I had to get like stern with somebody and the whole room went quiet, like, oh shit. Yeah.
mhm.
Like you could hear a pin drop. Um but yeah, so they come in for the most part it went back to how it was, like the vibe of everything when Preston and Shauna were around. Um this is where things started getting difficult. So obviously COVID hit and everything. These guys come in. They had made me and a sister, who I think she just got married recently, but at the time, Maribel Martinez, um, the leaders of the singles ministry there in Kids Kingdom, because we didn't have a prominent singles ministry in some of the regions, and so with me not going to school at that time and everything, and there were a lot more singles than campus, and campus is like online and everything. They
Mm.
wanted to kind of revamp a lot of stuff, so we would be doing stuff. There were a couple times where I think we went out to like Joshua Tree, which wasn't the best because they didn't take into the fact that some people have to go back from Palm Springs, go back west. Um, and the 10 freeway was closed at the time. It took me 6 hours to get home because I had to go all the way around through,
Jeez.
like, back through Apple Valley, Victorville, the 138, all of that. Yeah, back home. But yeah, uh, it was good when they were there for a time being, but then you can start seeing like, oh, these guys are just covering things up.
Mm.
Uh, no one wanted to say it out loud, but here I am, and I'm like, hmm. So this is where I knew he couldn't be trusted. He would take people's words and twist them to his own agenda. Um, there was an incident I had doing DoorDash at the time, or like Uber or whatever, out in Santa Clarita, the next town over.
Mhm.
I'm just sitting there at a random park or whatever in my car, windows down, whatever. I'm chilling on my phone, taking a break, and this homeless dude comes up to me, right? He's like, "Hey man, can I have some change?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, no worries, I got some change right here." Like I reach over to like the passenger side in the door where it is. I get up, he's got a blade at my throat already, and I grew up around a lot of hood. Grew up in the system for the most part.
Mhm.
So immediately I'm like, all right, let's go, you know? So I open the door, kind of just like get him off guard, and then I knock him out and like leave him by a tree or whatever. I,
Okay.
yeah, no, I'm like, well, dude, you got a blade in my throat. Like, what would you expect was going to happen, you know?
Mhm.
Um, I'm not taking any chances, unfortunately. So whatever, I go home at that point because I'm like, I'm worked up. Like, I'm in this fight or flight mode now. I don't want to be like that.
Mhm.
So I tell Ryan about it about like 2 days later, right? And his
Mhm.
response wasn't, "Well, I'm glad you're okay." His immediate response is, "You need to turn yourself in." What the? No. I'm telling him I don't need to do anything. He's the aggressor. Like, he put a blade to my throat. He's a homeless dude. What are the cops going to do anyways? Like,
Yeah.
whatever. So I called up Santa Clarita PD. Luckily, there were cameras from a business that was across the way that vouched for me. And they're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you're good. We'll just clear you at this point. It's self-defense. He's a homeless dude. I mean, we'd be giving him free home if we put him in
Exactly.
jail, you know, like,
I was thinking.
uh, so whatever." And he's like, I forgot what he said, but I said something along the lines like, "Dude, given the situation, I'd do it again. It's my life or his, you know. Like, he's got a blade to my throat, like this close."
Mhm.
Um, and he just didn't want to argue with me about that. I'm like, it's self-defense, dude. You know, it's not
Mhm.
like I'm out there actively looking to like jump him or whatever, you know.
Mhm.
So I get a call the following day at midnight, right?
Mhm.
And he's like, "Oh, you can no longer be a member of the church." I'm like, "What the heck?" You know?
Mhm.
He's like, it's like whatever. I try to plea with him about it, whatever, stupidly, whatever, just out of desperation.
Mhm.
Come to find out that I got called Edagiri at the time, and he's like, he said you threatened his wife and kids. No, never did that come up, right?
Mhm.
So he tried to put the text that I sent to him as far as like, "Hey, I do it again in the same situation,"
Mhm.
as, "Oh, that's a threat against my wife and kids." No, that's not how that works, homie. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, it was weird, and so this was a big thing, and he ended up apologizing to me, saying, "Oh, I wasn't like a year later, saying like, oh, I wasn't doing spiritually well, blah 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 blah." No, I'm like, well, no shit, really, really.
I'm like trying to figure out how did it go from like you saying you would do that again, self defense, to threatening his wife and kids, and then him saying sorry.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm thinking, oh, maybe he like misunderstood what you said. Like I would do it even if you, and I don't know, something
yeah,
like
well,
that.
yeah, I don't know, but
No,
he
it's like,
gave
I
it
just
to
lied. Sorry, I was doing
he
bad
gave it to
spiritually.
leadership at the time too, the, like screenshots of the texts. Um,
Mhm.
and like I don't know how they agreed to like go on his side or whatever, but what I wasn't even allowed to plead my case at this point, as if it were like court or whatever. I wasn't allowed to
Yeah.
do any of that, which was stupid, but whatever. Um, I decided I was gonna move on, which I didn't at the time.
Mhm.
And God, what is it? I got into my first relationship within, God, 5 years, because I was single since 2017,
Mhm.
right? To I got into a relationship with my now bestie, and there's a reason behind this. I have to tell everybody this story because they freak out like, "Wait, your ex is your bestie?" Blah 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 blah. I'm like, give it time. All right. So I met this woman. I'm not gonna say her last name. Her name is Frankie. I know her as Frankie. Her real name is Francis. Um, from Whittier, California. So that's like the San Gabriel Valley. That's like East LA. Yeah.
Where I'm from.
Oh, you're from Whittier. Nice. Let's go. Yeah, she's from Uptown. Originally from Uptown.
Oh
Right.
wow, yeah.
She's like
I went to a
1 mile
school there.
away from Greenleaf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you
I
know.
went to the
Okay.
school in Uptown, Whittier High. So.
Oh, you went to the Back to the Future school.
Yeah.
So did she. Yeah. Okay. So you
Yeah.
know the area I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
She worked at Crepes and Grapes at the time, actually.
Mm.
The restaurant right there off of Greenleaf in Uptown, where where Lift Coffee is right there. It's
I
diagonal.
do know that one. I don't remember Crepes and Grapes,
Lift,
unfortunately.
it's diagonal from Lift, right there. You walk across
Mm.
the street, it's right there. Yeah, little small outlet. It opens at like, God, like it closes at 3 p.m. It's like one of those brunch spots. Yeah. But yeah, so God, I remember this in March because I decided for the first time I'm like, well, I should try a dating app. I should go on Facebook dating. Oh, it's right there.
Yeah.
We met up wherever. Took ended up making things official like 2 weeks later, right? Um, Trust me, this story is prevalent to my return again to the church. Trust me. Um, I love Frankie, but it was more of a case of, and me and her have talked about like what if we had got what if we get back together. She's in Seattle currently. She loves Seattle, so she has this problem of bouncing back and forth for family reasons, and her family's kind of like toxic in a way.
Okay.
Which was funny because the relationship itself was toxic, and you can see where it came from now. Um, but everything was great. Blah blah blah. And it got to the point where in the relationship we started seeing things get really bad, like toxic, especially on her end, which led me to being like more angry with her and aggressive. Not like I'm like fighting, but like verbally aggressive with her
Mm.
because like I don't put up with any of that. So we ended up breaking up that July, like July 13th or something, 2022. And I tried to bounce back, go on a couple dates or whatever, didn't work. And then what was funny was I met someone else, didn't date her for one reason. She knew my dad. I don't date former students or date
Oh.
anyone in this town just because I don't like it.
Yeah.
But how we met was weird. So obviously, when my dad died, we're getting all these messages sent to me because my mom doesn't have social media, and my family is all in San Diego.
Yeah.
So I'm getting these messages. I see this person who's online who looks like she's 16. I'm like, why is there someone who's 16 on my Facebook friends? Right? I keep scrolling. I can't find her. But you know how it tells you someone's online? It's probably because either they messaged you or you messaged them. I checked my message requests. Her message was sitting there since 2022. Or not, sorry, 2019. So 3 years, right? And we were talking and everything. We met up, whatever. And it turned into this more brother-sister type vibe. Because, every student has a story from my dad or whatever. And I'm not going to take away from your experience, but I called up a couple of my dad's coworkers to like verify. I'm not gonna tell you the story, but to verify this story she told me, and they were like, "No, we vividly remember this." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, "Oh shit, okay, maybe she isn't lying."
Yeah.
So from there, I'm like, I don't want to date you because one, you're first of all, you're only 20. That's crazy. I'm like 25 at the time. And so it was more we became friends, and then her family started treating me like one of their own kind of in a way. So it was more like a brother sister type vibe. We had a falling out last year. Just boundaries were not respected. Blah blah blah. So I haven't spoken to her since. But anyways, what was funny was the church had re-invited me back out, and I'm like, oh, so you're ready to finally apologize? She's like, oh, we could talk about that, whatever, blah blah. I'm like, okay. So I brought her. Me and her went to one of they were setting up for like a Christmas event or something, like Ed and Lona's little daycare thing. We went there, helped out. I got an apology, but not the one I was expecting. Like it was kind of like dumbed down in a sense. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna get a real one from you guys, so I'll accept this. I ended up they were switching leaders again. When I left, I guess they booted Ryan Caceres and told him go back to the East region or something. Because they needed work. They brought in Sal Velasco, who was already I don't know if he was a leader of a region already or whatever, but he was from the central region, I think.
Mhm.
So he had to come up and down AV to AV. Whether he was taking the canyons, I don't know, but that's still a long drive. That's like an hour 20, you know?
Mhm.
So then in the weeks where I decided to rejoin, we got Rob Jenkins from Salt Lake City, Utah or something.
Mhm.
And that this was during the Jerusalem thing that you
Oh, yeah.
mentioned. Yeah. So I get restored during that whatever, and I'm
Wait,
reassured.
so what year is this?
This was now 2023, like beginning
Were you
2023.
were you in the conference that was in LA, like
No,
around that year? Oh,
I was 6 months after that.
oh, okay. I was gonna say we could have maybe crossed paths if that was the
No,
case.
what was funny was I went to only one, and that was in 2018, and then everything else
Okay.
got canceled. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Um. Uh. Otherwise, it was all the winter workshops and everything that they had.
Yeah.
Um. Oh, I didn't tell you this. I just remembered something. So prior to me leaving in 2022, which made me kind of like I don't want to come back kind of thing, at the
Mhm.
first time or the second, whatever. Um. There was this sister who I was quote building with, as they call it, you know. Uh, sh what was funny was we got along pretty well. We hit it off pretty well and everything.
Clearly, if you guys are building, yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
serious.
No, she. I'm not gonna say her name, but she was part of one of the OC regions in Anaheim, right?
Mhm.
So the way we met was kind of pretty like casual. It was like in the hotel they meet at for the congregationals. It's all upstairs. Like there's an elevator that goes upstairs to the conferences. Downstairs there's like a gift shop and everything because it's it's all it's right across from Disneyland and all that. The way we met was pretty casual. I'm just buying something, and I just see her. I'm like, oh hi, how you doing? I'm just getting something. What are you getting? Casual conversation.
Mhm.
And from there, she's like, do you want us to go sit with me and my friend? And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. I'm cool. I'm chilling at the time. It was for leaders meeting at the time.
Mhm.
Because they started letting everybody come finally.
Mhm.
From there, we exchanged Facebooks or whatever, hit it off pretty nice, got each other's numbers, whatever. This is where it started getting weird. Like out of nowhere, she just blocks me. Like 4 weeks later, right?
Mhm.
And then it's the typical disciple thing, like, oh, I'm gonna send you fucking scripture in the morning and everything, whatever. Maybe every other day, because I'm busy, you're busy. I'm not, whatever. And
Hey,
whatever
this is
happens, happens.
while you guys were building.
The first time,
She blocked you.
yeah, yeah. I
Oh.
know, out of the blue, right?
Mhm.
And so I at the time, R.D. Baker. I don't know if you remember him.
No.
He was the leader of Ventura. I remember in 2018 we went to the airport to greet him from Dubai. He was coming to leave Ventura. He's in San Diego now, so
Mhm.
as far as I know. Yeah, he's like a second dad to me. He's a history buff. My dad was a history teacher, so we talk about history a lot. Some cool music too. He's a really cool dude. I should probably say that there was a lot of great people in there, but that doesn't cover up all the bad that happened.
Mhm.
Um, that's not to say some of these people were great. They were. It was just not enough for me to hold on to. Like,
Yeah.
you think I want to stick around? No. Like, I love you guys, I do, but no, I'm out. Um,
Yeah, I've been always very explicit in saying, like, honestly, like almost all the people I've ever met personally, from my experience, they've all been extremely nice, really gracious people, really what's it called, sacrificial, kind of with the hyper condition that is if you want to be in the movement, and as soon as you express you don't want to, then they just don't care.
oh
But
yeah, it's trust me, this is where I started seeing the reality of things.
mhm.
So again, 2022, she blocks me, and I'm like, what the heck? Okay, whatever. I call RD and I send him the texts and everything, and I try to send him screen recordings because it's a lot. He
Yeah,
looks through it and says, "Bro, I can't find anything you did wrong. Like, what is this?" Because I asked him, "Did I do something wrong?" Like, he's like, "So I got word This is where they try to like they don't know how to use words. Ed
Right.
Aguirre at the time, my discipler, had told me, and I love Ed and Lona. They're not in the church anymore. They left in 23 when I was there, again, and I see why now. So he was like, "Hey, I don't know what he said, something like she didn't like something you said or whatever." I'm like, "Oh, okay," and that's when I sent all the stuff to RD because I wanted a second opinion, not to start drama. And he's like, "No, you want to make sure
Yeah.
I see something that maybe you didn't see." I'm like, "Yes, exactly. Thank you." He got back to me 2 hours later, like, "Bro, I couldn't find out anything you did wrong. Like, there's nothing here that would have caught my eye. Like, that's impure. That's this.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I'm moving on. It's sad. He's like, I'm sorry, bro. You didn't need that to happen to you. I feel you on that. And at the time, too, I think April had just died or whatever. Yeah, April Baker. Um,
Oh.
April Baker was cool. She's like a second mom to me. Um, yeah, so he's telling me all this. I'm like, oh, okay. Um, I had already planned to go to my home city, right, San Diego, to go visit my best friend, right? Because
Mm.
he's like, hey, I'm moving to Texas. Me and Cece are moving to Texas. You know, political reasons, obviously. Uh, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. You know. So he's like, if you want to see me, here's the weekend I'll be free, and then if you want to see me again, we could probably work something out. Whatever. Uh, I'm a motorcycle rider, so I found that hey, there's a group ride happening. Right. I had only
Mm.
been riding for like maybe like a year at the time, and I've only done it with like one or two people, never a full group.
Mm.
So, um, yeah, so this group ride, it was from, my goodness, where was it? Oh, God, it was OC. It was the Irvine Spectrum Center, and we went from there to Laguna, through Laguna to San Clemente Cars and Coffee, because it's summer. It happens every summer. I do that a lot. And from there, I had strapped like a mini bag with like weeks worth of clothes on it or whatever, swim shorts, whatever, because it's March. It tends to get hotter in San Diego at that time. And
Mm.
so I went over there, whatever. Couple days go by, so I get there. A day goes by, and then the next day we're riding, whatever. My childhood best friend Jeff is like, "Hey, do you realize your engine is held up by one bolt?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I'm
Jeez.
surprised your bike has not exploded." I'm like, "Oh God." So that night we got the stuff to fix it and everything, and we're in his he had owned like a condo and everything. It's like stupid HOA or whatever, but we were in his garage fixing it. I get a call from that sister who had blocked me to like a week prior, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I had told my friends about this, and then I showed them, and they just started laughing. I'm like, he's like, go handle your woman, bro. Go handle your woman. I'm like, oh Lord.
Yeah.
So I'm over here
Sisters
like,
be tripping, bro. No. That was something.
exactly.
That was something they would say. I remember there was like a little saying when I was in the ICC. Not like a full blown saying, but that was something just for fun. The brothers would say like "sisters be tripping." That was.
No, they really do though. It's weird. Like you guys act out more than I would expect you guys to, but to each their own, I guess. But yeah, she calls me and she's like, I'm with my discipler. I'm like, okay. She's like, what are you doing right now? I'm like, well, I'm in my home city, San Diego. And I'm with my best friends right now. I'm here for the week, and it's like, she's like, oh, I could call you back. I'm like, you're not gonna get me back on the phone if you hang up now. I'm just letting you know. And she's like, so she tells me like, I'm sorry for what I did, blah blah blah. I wasn't in the right mind, blah blah blah. I'm like, clearly, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, you really hurt me actually. Um, and so this is where I started realizing they like to cover up a lot of things and like tell you need to forgive this person rather than hey, this person needs to earn respect back, you know? Um it was more of like, can you forgive me? And I'm like, you need to earn that. Forgiveness is earned, not given. She's like, would you still want to build with me? And at the time, I'm like, okay, fine, sure. But if you do this again, that's it. Consider us, we'll just say hi and bye. That's it, you know?
Mhm.
Um, So I get a call from my discipler the same, like 20 minutes later. He's like, "Hey, did you tell this sister that like you weren't gonna forgive her?" I'm like, "No, I told her forgiveness is earned, not given." He's like, "Bro, that's so unloving." I'm like, "Really? Was what she did loving?" Like we could go at this all day. Like it's night at night. We're working on motorcycles, and you thought this was the best time to have this argument? Really? Like,
You know, it was something I heard from the ICC. It was actually it was funny because it was my later then girlfriend in the ICC who said this, but it was something that a lot of people in the church I was ended up saying, which was after you wrong someone, like maybe you wrong someone, oh, you have to forgive me or else you're in sin. You know, like kind of like jokingly, but
yeah,
also like,
which doesn't make sense. It's like, huh? So if somebody goes out and murders my family member, I'm just expected to forgive that person immediately? No, that's not how this works. you know, like this is where that's the line they're kind of like putting it on essentially. Um, so yeah, I told him that, and he's like, "Oh, well, we'll talk about it later." I'm like, "No, we won't." I hung up.
mm,
So after that, that's when a couple weeks went by, and Ryan, that the whole incident in Santa Clarita happened and everything. He was just waiting to do that at that point. He was building up something enough to kind of condemn me in a sense.
mm,
But then I got into a relationship with Frankie, blah blah blah. I got restored, and at this point, me and Frankie had tried going out again prior October 2022, and she said something that still sticks with me to this day. Obviously, I know she wasn't in the best place in her life when she said this, but she said to me, "You need to find somebody who loves you the way you love me." I'm like, damn, you know, like
mm.
so. From there, we had blocked each other, had not heard from each other at all. I get restored. A month later, like I'm chilling at my cousin's who works for Hollywood in LA. I'm like, what is it? I was like watching his place or whatever, you know? He's got like
Mm.
a nice rent controlled apartment, like an old school one, in like mid Wilshire, Koreatown area. He lives next to the Wiltern actually, like about maybe like a mile or so. So I could walk there if I wanted to. But I was doing that, and I get a message from an account, right, on
Mm.
Instagram. I'm like, who's this? It's Frankie trying to apologize and everything, and I didn't want to forgive her at that point, but I was so brainwashed from the church at this point where I told myself, if I don't forgive her, how am I going to be forgiven? That was the brainwashing where I started realizing, like, what the heck, you know?
Mm.
Um, so after, let's see, me and her continued to talk and work out our issues, kind of like on the side. Because I knew if I told the church about this, they'd be like, why didn't you just block her, blah, 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 blah. And then it'd be a whole new argument, And I'm like, I don't need that right now. So as we're doing this, I had made the conscious decision to transfer regions. There was family issues at the time, and I didn't want to be anywhere near them,
Mm.
So I ended up deciding to move to the AMS region, Arts, Media, and Sports. So I moved there in November, like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. When I tell you, I underestimated how bad that region really was. Yeah, it looks on like from the outside, it looks perfect, like everybody's happy or whatever. But when you get inside, it's like, oh, it's all the entitlement. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, and I think that's also a larger kind of like reality for people in the ICC or the ICC as a whole. To be honest, I think because a lot of people, I know I've heard this before, and it's especially from people who were never in the ICC, but they like heard of it and they like have seen. Maybe they've gone to like a service or two. Though one of the things that I've heard is like, but they look so happy. Like, oh, like what's the big deal? They all look so happy. I'm like, I'm not saying that they're all miserable necessarily, necessarily, but I mean, even the services themselves are performances in which their hopes is to get people to Like, I don't think people realize almost everything is a performance.
Oh yeah.
Like when you're in church, you're told, and in the Facebook Messenger group chats, hey guys, you have to be more loud. You have to preach back. You have to preach
Yeah.
back more. You have to sing. This person wasn't singing. Maybe you'll get discipled on it later. You need to sing louder. Everything is a performance in order to help people get into the kingdom.
Yeah.
So I don't think a lot of people realize that, especially who are never in it. Like a lot of these things are extremely performative, like a huge kind of facade, if I'm being honest.
Oh no, I entirely agree with that. I told Frankie this one time because I didn't tell her this, and I'm gonna get to the story, but when she came back to LA in 2024 before I left, right? We met up in person to talk things out, obviously like adults. And there's a reason she's my bestie to this day, because over that course of time, she has repeatedly taken accountability for her actions, you know? And we both did. We ended up both taking accountability, and she still does it to this day. And I tell her, you know, you don't have to keep telling me you're sorry. Like, I love you, I do, but it's why do you keep doing it? She's like, I love her reasoning too. She's like, because if I don't apologize any chance I get, then I'm just gonna revert back to my old ways, and I don't want to be the old Frankie again.
Mm.
You know, there's a reason she's my bestie, and I trust her with my life. Um, so Frankie actually became the. I'm gonna send this to her evidently, but she's right. She's always right, and evidently she was the role model for me wanting to finally get out. Because if Frankie, someone who was highly toxic to me, could take accountability over and over to this day, and a bunch of these people in the church can't even do it on a
Mm.
daily. This is their version of accountability. Oh, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I won't do it again. But you're gonna do it to either me or somebody else over and over, and just keep asking for apologies. You know,
Mm.
that's not accountability. You're just doing the same thing. Um, so evidently, she gave me. They made me feel kind of guilty because I talked about my issues with her. Because like I'm at this point, you guys just don't give a shit. So why
Mm.
should I care? So I told her about my issues. She's like, I can't tell you what to do, but it sounds like you want to leave, but you're being held back by some existential whatever. Like if you need to leave, leave. You know. So
Mm.
I'm in the AMS region, and at the time, this is where things got really weird because the AV department, the audio visual, they're like, hey, I know you're from Antelope Valley. We got a couple guys in there already, but you're going to AMS. AMS has a guy, but he's refusing to work with us. I'm like, okay, that's cool. He's like, they're like, you have a degree in music, right? I'm like, yeah, production. I'm like, okay, could you do it? I'm like, yeah. Can you talk to Josiah for me? Because my word only goes so far. They did, and I guess they told him okay, but really they were trying to sideline. He was trying to sideline me, and essentially,
Mm.
I'm like, okay, whatever, you know. So yeah. So as time went on, this was weird. Prior to me wanting to go to the AMS, there was this fall away sister, right? I was part of a wedding, like a groomsman in a wedding for a member who was in the AV, now AMS, and who was marrying her boyfriend from the AMS, you know? There was
Mm.
this sister who was, or former sister, whatever, who was sitting by herself on the opposite to me, same lane. Because at this point, we're just waiting to see where everybody's going because they're going to separate locations for the what is it after the ceremony? What's that called? The where you just eat food and
Mm.
everything. Yeah,
Uh,
that thing.
yeah.
Um, so me and her got to talking, whatever, right? And we really got to, yeah, talking and hanging out pretty much that day. Like, I'm
Mm.
like, oh, where do you stay? She's like, oh, I stay out in like Fresno area. I'm like, Fresno, Jesus, you know. And so as we're talking, she's like, well, I'm not really a disciple. I'm kind of a follower, you know. And so this is where I started realizing the church had lied and lied, was lying to people, because they did it to me and the same sister I was building with at the time. as well. That's like a separate lie, but it was they she was supposed to, she was part of the AMS, I guess, and needed to go home to be with family in Fresno, right? Or near Fresno, wherever. I forgot whatever town it was, but and they were supposed to get her in contact with the Fresno church. No one ever did, right? So at that point they just branded her a follower because no one ever reached back out or anything, you know? Whatever. So she and I said, "Oh, what the heck?" You know. So I started talking to, at the time, my leaders in AV. I'm like, "Is this normal?" And she's like, "Who are the leaders of Fresno?" I'm like, "I don't know. You tell me." So he told me, and I'm like, "Oh, what should she do?" She's like, "Huh." He's like, "That's kind of unheard of, whatever, blah blah blah." So she ends up reaching back out, and I told her, I made a promise to her. If you get restored, I'll take you on a kingdom date, as they call it. You know.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about those as well because we got a lot to cover. Just, oh my god, dude, I'm telling you, these people are so messed up in so many ways. Whatever. She gets restored actually a day before my 26th birthday, 2023, 26th birthday. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I'm a man of my word. I'm going to come out to Fresno this day. Let me plan it, you know, because I wanted to make sure she was going to hold up to her end of the bargain. So that September, I ended up from work in Santa Clarita at the time. I went all the way to Fresno, stayed there the weekend, took her on to KD that Sunday, you know. Really great. Fresno was interesting. It's all flat land and whatever. Yeah, so me and her ended up building to a point, right?
Again, like the same person, right?
No, different person, completely
Oh,
different.
different.
This is the person from the wedding now.
Okay.
The bridesmaid who was a
Yeah,
former disciple who got restored. Yeah. And so this is how you know the church is weird. They don't want people to have nice things, only the ones who kind of conform to them in a sense. Because I forgot what it was that was said. They just started spreading lies essentially to the point where she left and no one said anything why, right? I got a call from one of her discipler up in Fresno. I'm like, what the heck? She's like, hey, did she say anything about going to LA or anything? And I'm like, no, why? What's going on, you know? Because at the time, the leaders had told me to drop communications with her because of not doing spiritually well. Let's just say,
Right.
quote.
Right, of course.
Yeah. So I get a call from her discipler at the time, and she's like, hey, is she in LA? And I'm like, I don't know. What do you mean? She's like, she didn't say anything to you? I'm like, no, we were told to drop communications like a month ago. Like at this point. Oh, dang. So they ended up showing up at her house, and like I guess her family was like kind of like stern with her, like you need to leave and never come back, kind of thing. Yeah, they showed up at her home.
Wow.
Let's fast forward to about a month later, because at this point a lot has happened to me in the AMS, not just between me, but it was with my roommates as well. So when I moved, they were living in a back house owned by another disciple's family members, right? Now, I guess from the vibe I got is the family didn't really like them or whatever, but because they were paying rent, it's like, okay, cool, as long as they pay rent, you know? The family was Hispanic. I'm half Hispanic. I'm half Mexican. So I went to talk to them, you know, and try to see what was going on, because I'm like, I don't know you guys. I know your brother kind of well and everything. Like, what's going on? They told me a lot of things. I'm like, okay, I want to reassure you that, like, I told the mom too, like, I'm not gonna be like that. I was raised Mexican. I get you on that. I do. And so, like, there was a lot of things they were doing that they just didn't like. So when I walked in there too, it smelled so bad. It's like somebody threw a gas grenade in there and just let it sit. Yeah. So it got to the point where when I got there, there was like black mold residue building up in the shower. Oh yeah. So what did I do? I had to be the one to clean it, right?
Of course.
I ended up getting sick on and off for 3 months straight, like to the point where they had to give me a steroid at the hospital to like cure me, essentially.
Jeez.
Yeah. Um. So there was a lot that they just didn't know how to take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I have videos of my former or now ex sister chewing them out the day, like that weekend I left. I had to grab some stuff. She needed to come with me to get the desk out. Right.
Yeah.
I remember this vividly. She said this, and I still remember it. She's like, love God, but clean your room. Yo, yeah, no, it got bad because it was like I'd clean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And clean, but these guys don't know how to take care of themselves. So when I left, right, I decided to make the conscious decision to leave because between one of my roommates who, this was funny too. Um, what is it? I was leaving for work one day for the job I had in Santa Clarita at the time, and I couldn't find my wallet. I'm like, what the heck? I'm not about to get caught on the 5 freeway with no wallet, no
Mm-hmm.
ID. Um, so I call my roommate. I'm like, hey, bro, have you seen my wallet by chance? Just thinking, I don't know. I think I dropped it in the house somewhere. I just don't know where. Maybe you've seen it. He's like, no, Quinn, I haven't seen your wallet. And I'm like, okay, no worries. Just all right. Have a good day, bro. I'm like, that was weird. I ended
Yeah.
up finding it, going to work or whatever. Come back. He's sitting on the couch like the fucking Godfather, like ready to like. I'm not even joking. I can't make this shit up. Like he's like, we need to have a talk. Okay, what's up? Like, I'm like, you good? He was offended that I called him to ask about my wallet when his mom, I guess his mom had gotten out of prison or whatever in Iowa, and she went
Mm-hmm.
missing like 2 hours later. But like, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, I keep my chats on mute on, for the most part on Facebook Messenger, except individual people,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm in like 27 different biker groups with like 50 different subcategories each. Like everybody's
Yes.
going off about one thing or another. So I'm like,
Yeah.
all you're gonna hear is ding, 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 ding all day. No, and then I'm in like like they try to add me to like 10 different chats for one region. I'm like, dude, you don't need all of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm like, bro, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that happened to you. I don't like my situation. I told him the reasoning why, like I told you.
Mm-hmm.
And he was getting mad. He's like, read the room, right? He's getting like more and more aggressive as he's saying this, to
Mm-hmm.
the point like, homie, I don't think you know where we live. I don't think you know the OG who lives next to us knows me and my sisters. You better calm down, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was getting to that point, and I'm like, I told him out loud, who the fuck do you think you're talking to like that? You better lower your tone quick. And so he got up full fisted. I'm like, let's go then. He's like, he gets out like, go meet me outside then. Go meet me outside. Like he wanted to fight. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what the heck? Right? And so two of the roommates come back in like, yo, what's going on? And I told them, they're like, that's not cool on his end. Are you good? I'm like, no, I'm not good. I'm gonna fight this fool right now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I go to like I go on my bed because it's like they're like two bunk beds, I guess. I'm on the one on the right side, so I go to sit on my bed, just calm down. This guy comes back in and sits on my chair where my desk is and everything, and it's like, okay, let's talk about this right now. Like 3 minutes later, I'm like, homie, no, and so he keeps trying to do that, and I'm like pressing him now. So funny enough, it got to Josiah Smith because I told him, right?
Mm-hmm.
They blamed me. I said, "Whoa, what? How are you gonna blame me?" There's like, "Well, you could have been more sensitive to his feelings." I'm like, "He just accused me of whatever when I first walked in the house. How do you think I'm gonna take it?" You know,
Mm-hmm.
like, dude. Um, so then it just trickled down to the next roommate where there was a lot of just things going on between me and him. Again, the AMS region is not the best region on paper, and like when you look at it, it looks great. Like they have a fun time. No, these are the most like broken people ever, and it's like, how do you two like? How are you guys coexisting?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it got to the point where I guess another disciple, well, his mom was kicking him out because she didn't like the church or whatever. And I'm like, oh, dang, that sucks, you know? And it's like they wanted to move him in here, but we didn't have room at that place, you know? It
Mhm.
was already three of us. One guy sleeps on the couch because he, quote, doesn't like being comfortable. That was the exact wording he used. Um,
One of those super disciples.
I'm like, bro, I don't know. I said, we had a disciple in the AV region, right?
Mm.
Who would not sleep for a week straight and just consistently read his Bible 24/7 to the point where somebody had to disciple him. Like, dude, go do something else. Like, it's like I can't wrap my head around some of these people. Um, but yeah, so they moved him in, right? But I'm like, I got mad because I assume you're Hispanic. I'm Hispanic, right? There's a level of respect you need to have for other families, too. Like, they're letting us live in this. This is not our home. We pay rent, yes, but at the end of the day, it's a word of mouth that could kick us out at any time, you know?
Mhm.
Um, so it was this whole argument I had where, like, dude, you can't move him in. Like, he wanted the address for me, and I'm like, I'm not giving it to you. You need to talk to the family first, right?
Mhm.
So because I was the one to mainly be the one communicating with the family, like, you guys could have been doing this already, but like you chose not to, kind of thing. Um, yeah, so it just frustrated me a lot because I told the guy, the same roommate who wanted to fight me, I said, you need to contact the family. You need to be responsible about this. I can't babysit you guys anymore for this.
Mhm.
That's not fair. You guys have been living here way longer than me, and you couldn't do this before. That how does that look? He's like kind of disrespectful. I'm like, yeah. So he didn't ask. He just told them like, oh, we're moving another guy in. This guy had no source of income other than his financial aid.
Mhm.
Dude, dude, like, so there was a lot of favoritism that went on in the church, specifically in the AMS as well. If you were not one of Josiah or Christian Smith's favorites, you were kind of just swept under the rug in a sense. Um, you could tell who were the favorites. You know, IT, Savage, those Argus guys. Because there were some things that they did, like especially the guy who wanted to fight me. He was in a dating relationship, looking to get engaged.
Mhm.
Bro, immediately anybody else, that's grounds for your relationship being over.
Mhm.
But no, so you could. It was a lot of favoritism, a lot of gaslighting, essentially. Um, it was the worst time, and it got to the point where me and the guy who had moved in after me, the one I said like, hey, you need to talk to the family about this. It's kind of disrespectful. You're just putting people in, you know.
Mhm.
It got to the point where he would antagonize me and say things like, "Oh, you ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't gonna do nothing," while like doing this with his fists. You know, homie, you're threatening me, really? Now, it got so bad that I feared for my life at one point, and I kept a tire iron under my pillow. Yeah, and this is coming from somebody who keeps a firearm in his car at all times. Um, so I feared for my life. And it got to the point where he was threatening me, and I just grabbed the tire, and I'm like, all right, then let's go then, because you're not going to threaten me, you know? You're
Mhm.
not going to threaten me. You're not going to do this. He's like, you ain't going to do nothing. You ain't going to do nothing. And he just kept on pressing me. And so we started fighting, right? The only reason he won that fight is because I'm wearing socks on like a slippery tile floor. I don't have a lot of footing. You're wearing shoes, dog. Like,
Yeah.
who do you think's going to win? It got so bad that he chipped my tooth. Like, I have a hole in the back of my tooth. Like, I could put my tongue. Yeah. And of
But
course,
both of you are disciples, right? In
mhm,
this, like,
essentially,
yeah, it's I don't know. I think I find it very interesting, especially in the larger regions and churches. I guess
yeah.
it does definitely get more and more. I don't know if I want to use the word diluted, but that's kind of the word that first comes to mind
Oh, it very
because
much is. Yeah.
yeah, like it's it's so interesting, like to see that these are things that are are happening in other parts that you just don't hear about. You never hear about. It's
No.
just kind of glossed over, painted over. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And it got so bad during my last days there in 2024 in the church that when all this was going on, he kept antagonizing me too. This guy kept antagonizing me, and I'm just like, dude, whatever, you know? It got so bad that leadership blames me again. Like, why is he antagonizing you? I'm like, ask him. I don't know. Right? Like, it got so bad to where they kept blaming me. I left that night and I went to this spot up on Angeles Crest, right?
Mhm.
And I wanted to commit suicide that night. I took a blade to my throat and it was like, nope. And all I can remember was me that talk me and Frankie had, right? She's like, I mean, if you can't really like, you're holding on to something existential that's keeping you around. Like, if you can't tell me exactly what's holding you back, then I can't help you. You know.
Mhm.
Um. So they were just very controlling as well. So that's my whole experience with them as far as like a timeline base. There was a lot that went on in between that I just purged from my memory at this point because I don't want to remember. But there was a lot that went on between the lies, the deceptions, them wanting to get physically, emotionally, financially abusive as well, which I'll get to that right now. So the money thing was the funniest thing to me because I would double up, like give the next week's contro within the same week, right? Because at the time it's like I'm gonna go to San Diego. I don't want to worry about this. I want to ride. I want to be with my friends.
Mhm.
They try to tell me I didn't give, but I have screenshots of everything in emails.
Mhm.
And they're like, "Oh, when can we have D time?" But I told you we needed to cancel because we're doing things, right? He's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, you can't do it while on a motorcycle?" I'm like, "No, I need to focus on riding. Whatever." And they would try to contain people to one area. What I mean by that is the region you're in. If you try to go out of that by any means, like, "Oh, I need to go visit family over here," that's just a whole nother issue for them.
Mhm.
Like, I'm from San Diego. Like, I don't like Lancaster. We moved here when I was 3 years old because my dad got a teaching job. Otherwise, I'm born from San Diego, raised LA. You know, uh,
Mhm.
I, if I want to go to my home city, I will. And there'd be days too where I just go to just go. Because I'd either have the day off or nothing going on, whatever, right? And they get mad at me, like, "Well, why did you go out there?" I'm like, "Cause I can." What's stopping me? What's wrong with it? Like, so they're very controlling, very financially abusive, which is
Yeah,
what, yeah, which is
they're
what,
they're they're really like scared of like people leaving. Not even I'm not even saying like leaving that institution, but just leaving like the area. They're like, where are you going? Like they're like scared that like almost I think of it as like an overprotective like mother or father where it's
oh
like
yeah.
going are you going somewhere like are you're gonna die like you're gonna spiritually die if you leave so we can't let you go somewhere.
And I noticed this too. When you go out somewhere by yourself, and let's say I have a lot of female friends, right? Um, since I ride, I got a lot of female friends. They just come with the group or whatever, right? And they're inviting me. They're like, because they like the vibes I give. They're like, "Hey, come on out. Like, let's go get a drink or something." Like, I'm a brewery guy, so if they invite me to a brewery, I'm not gonna like. Here's where it gets diluted too. So or kind of like weird. I don't know. They preach that, hey, drunkenness is a sin. Okay, great, but you can have a drink as long as you don't like you know how to control it, right? Like
Mm,
if you're an alcoholic, obviously I don't even today I don't recommend you touch a drink. You're an alcoholic for a reason.
yeah.
But like for me, I went out to a brewery with a couple friends in San Diego and we posted it like we're having a good time. They're like, "Oh, that's unspiritual, bro. Why are you posting yourself with a beer?" I'm like, "I'm not drunk though. You guys preach on the daily that like." They're like, "Oh, but it's unspiritual. You need to take it down." I'm like, "It's on my friend's account. You want to talk to him about that? Go ahead. Otherwise, you got nothing on me." Like, do not come at me with this bullshit attitude. Um, so
They're very extremely outwardly focused. So like I think right there the problem would be like it's gonna hurt their image. Like oh well, if you're almost like you're promoting I don't know sin in some sense in their eyes.
oh, wait till you see what is that? What is that? The CR chemical recovery or whatever they call it.
Oh, yeah, recovery program.
Which was funny. They tried to put me in CR
Mhm.
for I don't do drugs, but when I was 16, I smoked weed once and was like, this isn't for me, you know? They try to put me in it because, like, I have no other experience than that. Like, what do you want me to say? Right? Um, and I noticed too, they like to, what is it? If you're somebody like me who has ongoing trauma from life, they expect you to just drop it like that. That's not how it works, homie.
Mm.
Like there's a lack of consideration for mental health, and it shows. They'll try to pull out the mental health scripture, whatever that's called.
I don't even know which one you're.
Somebody said it was something and said this is the mental health scripture. I'm like, no, it's not. That's not how this works, right? Where this has been an ongoing thing too. I've noticed with them even to this day. Being outside is just I hear stories like, dude, they don't care about mental health. They just tell you
No, not at all.
to
They'll
deal,
just say
like get over it, kind of thing. Like,
exactly, yeah. Like they'll be like, "You're depressed, but being sad is sin, so don't be sad." Like that's like their antidote.
yeah, cause it. I have a lot of trauma, specifically from 20 and 2020. I didn't get to this, but in 2020, I lost a friend to suicide. I'm a two-time suicide survivor, and I lost a friend in front of me, like this close in front of me. He blew his brains out. Like
Jeez.
I watched that happen in front of me, and that's something that sticks with me forever, you know.
Yeah.
And what they I brought it up a lot in the I think you saw the video I did with the brood of vipers
Yeah, yeah.
last year. Yeah. Um a lot of that is what they said. They're like, "Oh, he made his bed. Oh, another one for Satan." Dude,
Yeah, yeah.
like this guy was depressed, and you're telling me too like, "Oh, there's nothing you could have done?" Yeah, there's a lot I could have done. I could have got him into therapy, checked up on him. You would have been better. What do
Mhm.
you mean? So there's a big lack of consideration for people with mental health, PTSD, who struggle with like depression, anxiety, all these stuff, and it's not fair. You know, you're expected to just drop that at the door. You can't.
Mhm.
Like certain people get triggered by certain sounds. You know, like you expect them to drop it like that? No, that's in their brain now. Like that's not gonna. You're not gonna just. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was definitely no love for that in there, which it sucks. Which at the same time too, if what I noticed was specifically with the Inkleys as well is like when they told me I was using my dad's death as an excuse, Preston's like close grandfather or somebody had died like months after, and they expected us to drop everything to help him as needed.
Hmm.
Okay. But yeah, so that's my experience. Now, as far as there was a lot. There were lies that were spread too, like between members to keep things, hush hush. So like me and that sister from Anaheim that we're building, they lied to her because she went back and said, "Hey, why did you? I feel bad that Quinn fell away. I feel like I was one of his reasons," which she was. Even the second time she was, because I didn't tell anybody this, but this is hilarious. But um, I guess she went up to leadership from what I was told, and she asked them, and then she was like, "Hey, why did you tell me to block him that day?" And she's like, "They're like, oh, we didn't tell you to block him." That's a little, you know.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of manipulation, a lot of gaslighting that led to lies and everything. And you can tell this is where things kind of like in 2024 as well, besides them wanting to fight me consistently, like, dude, that's on you, that's on your behavior. You have a behavioral problem clearly, and I can't help you with that. Do what you need to do, get that fixed, but don't come at me with this, you know. There were a lot of things between the lies, the deception, the abuse, and everything. When me and Frankie had met up again, I didn't tell her this, but and Frankie knows me to be very hypersensitive to like notice things that no one else is gonna notice, like be alert kind of thing.
Mm.
They were doing kind of a stakeout on me and her. Yeah, in Whittier.
Mm.
And I only noticed because we were walking. And I'm like, I got a bad vibe, and she's like, "You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Let's just walk to the car. Let's go hang out somewhere." Um, I noticed them parked on the side. I'm like, "Oh, what the hell? That's members from the East region." So we kept walking, right? And I'm like, "Let's take this way." She's like, "Why are we taking that long way?" I'm like, "I'll explain in a second." There's a parking garage there that's pretty free, so
Mm.
we'll park there. Um, and so I got in my car, purposely drove by them, right?
Mm.
The light turned red, and I saw them pull out toward like pull out toward the street, right?
Mm.
And I kept driving, and I'm like, "Do you want to go to Montebello right now?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, let's go." They kept following us, tailing us. I'm like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Oh, this road must be closed off." Whatever. I lied to her essentially, and I dipped and went from one road to the freeway, right?
Mm.
You could tell that like they hear the hard braking. I'm like, they're
Yeah.
following us. They're following us. Yeah. So I didn't know what to think of that. I'm like, that is so
That's,
stalkerish.
yeah, that's weird.
Like, why would you be doing this? And you know what's funny? They were taking pictures too. Like, what the fuck?
You know what? You know what's interesting too? This is somewhat speculative, and I don't like doing speculations necessarily, but it's also there's like two ways they're going about it. That's why I would bring it up. Which is one is they're not doing it off their own accord.
Oh, I knew
Like
it. I know damn
clearly,
well they weren't. Because I'm in
yeah,
the AMS and I'm going to Whittier. You call somebody to purposely do this shit.
exactly. Clearly, there's something going on, at least with some other people. And if not, then like the other horn, which would be it's really weird for just some random rogue disciples to be stalking other disciples. That
Yeah,
would definitely
like
be
you're a
okay.
fucking
Either
CIA
way,
agent and shit. Like,
yeah.
you didn't think I noticed you, but I did. Um, yeah, that's when it was like I need to get out kind of thing. Like, I just whatever. So luckily, what happened not luckily, but what happened the night after during that midweek happened, and that's when I made the conscious decision to leave.
So your leaving was more so of like you didn't like. Was it a lot of things at once, or what were some of
It was a culmination of pretty much everything from 2018. Looking back at it, because that night, I was in the car for a good 2 hours debating what to do,
the? Mhm.
and that's when I just got those suicidal thoughts, like that's the only way out, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Because the brainwashing kind of was still prevalent. Like, I can't leave. Well, it's a sin against God. Blah 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 blah. Bad things are gonna happen. Which they did tell people this too. Where like I didn't understand the whole "you can only date in the church" thing. That
Mhm.
was the stupidest thing to me. Which everyone asked me too. Like, it was funny. Like, I had hopes of dating in there at one point, but as I got older, I realized that there wasn't really anyone in there for me. I can't do that, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, so there was a lot of how do I say? There was a lot that led me to leaving. Essentially, um, it was just a culmination of everything from 2018 to then, and I started looking back at it like it's any event that happens, it's never a good turnout unless I don't know. There was never really a good turnout in any situation.
Mhm.
Like, oh, you want to date? Well, guess what? We're gonna have the sister block you. Okay. Oh, your family died. Guess what? You only have 3 months total to grieve.
Yeah.
Essentially, like, what the heck? Um, there was a lot of things. Like first of all, I had told them about Frankie prior. Like, hey, I'm going to see a friend today. She's really cool. Me and her need to work some things out, unfortunately. so I can't have you guys there. And they were adamant about me taking a brother there. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna weird her out like that. Like,
Right.
right? Like, you need to have
That's
some respect.
just out of nowhere while you talk to her. Oh, I brought her brother here just in case things get a little weird. Like
Yeah,
really?
like I'm an adult. Like I know how to control myself, but clearly you can't let me be an adult.
Just in case I can't control myself, I brought someone here.
In case I can't control myself, yeah. Hey, Frankie, in case I can't control myself, and in case we decide, go to the back seat of my car or whatever, I brought somebody here just in
Yeah,
case. You know, like that was really gonna happen. Like, no, and I think that's why me and Frankie, that's why we're besties to this day. Is we have this understanding. We love each other a lot. We do. While we know we may not end up together again, we don't know. We can hope for the best, but we're always going to be happy no matter what situation we, get ourselves into. And we're going to always support each other through that.
Mm.
And this is like my ride or die. This is like somebody like in a heartbeat. She says, "Hey, I'm in trouble. I need help." I'm taking a flight to Seattle instantly, like I got you, because you would do the same for me. I know you would. So it ended up being somebody, a non-disciple who doesn't associate with the church at all, and who has an actual prior experience with a church that was terrible as well, that gave me the advice to get out, essentially.
Mm.
Because I told her that I took her advice, and then months later I told her, hey, I didn't really tell you the truth of why I left. I mean, I did take your advice, but then I told her the whole story of that night and everything. And she was mad for me. I thought she was mad at me, but she was like, no, I'm mad for you that they did that shit to you. I'm like, yeah. And then to go further, so individual people are obviously that you have different personalities in there meshing together. There was one brother in the AV I had a really bad experience with. He was just very flirtatious, very sexually harassive. And the church kind of was just like, oh, we're working with him. But like a year goes on, like bro's doing the same shit over and over. It got to the point where it was 2023 and I brought my, 2023, mid 23, right?
Mm.
Where I brought my sisters at the time, right? Because again, it was like they brought, that family had basically was like, oh, you're one of our own, because we knew your dad or whatever. He was cool. We were really cool. He helped us out. And so he would get really flirty with one of my sisters, and she had just turned 18 2 weeks prior.
Mm.
Yeah. And so the other sister had to go talk to Rob.
He's just imitating Kip McKean. That
Yo. No, but that's the thing. She had to go talk to Rob and be like, I don't want him near my sister. I've seen how he is. Right? She just turned 18. What does this dude do? He sits directly next to her.
Yeah.
And there was another brother too in the West region who, because the big chats, you can be like, hey, pray for this person, she's gonna come out this week, blah blah blah.
Mm.
I said her name, right?
Yeah.
This dude had went on my friends list and found her and started messaging her.
Gosh.
To the point where I found out, and I'm like, I told her, she's like, oh, this guy this like black guy in the West region, whatever, blah blah blah. I'm like, what? I started seeing the messages, and I'm like, oh hell no! Like, I got furious, right? So I went to go talk to the leaders one time at a leaders meeting, because they wanted me there to. They were essentially trying to revamp San Diego, right? But no one from San Diego can come, and they realized, wait, Quinn's from San Diego. His family's from there. He knows the area like the back. So I gave a whole thing or whatever, like to like a couple people or whatever who were gonna go there, including I guess somebody who was gonna go lead something down there. Like, hey, this is this area. It's not divided like LA. We're broken up like this. We're not like like AV, the Valley, East Los, all that.
Mhm.
It's North County. You got North County. You got PB and OB, Pacific Beach, Ocean Beach, and then you got like downtown Balboa, Southeast Dago, East Dago, Imperial. You know, we're not broken up like LA is, like, and where people are like, oh, this isn't part of this, blah blah blah. No, like we know where we are at all times. So I gave him a rundown of that, whatever, and then I pulled one of the leaders to the side afterwards. I was like, hey, I need to talk to you about one of your guys, and I showed him the text and everything. He's like, oh, that's what's been going on. I heard that he was just sending her scriptures in the morning. I'm like, nope. And I told him, like, so what are we gonna do here? That's my little sister, right?
Right.
And he's like, he looked at me because I looked at him with such like, I'm gonna rip you first because you're the leader. And he's like, I'm gonna take care of it. Okay, okay. What was funny is I was told by Rob not to engage because he was taking care of it. Not really.
Yeah.
Like, if I tell you something, I expect it to be done that day, especially if it's text when you can send it right then and there, you know? But I had to go in person and do this, and he got mad. I'm like, what'd you want, bro?
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know. Even if he was sending scripture, I mean that's just weird to be honest.
he's sending
I
it
don't know.
to a non-disciple who's my baby
Exactly.
sister. Like, yeah, essentially. There was a degree of racism and racial insensitivity in the church, right? So I look one way, but I was raised another. You know, I'm like I said, I'm half Mexican. I'm half white. I was raised Chicano for the most part. Um, the same brother who was flirtatious, right,
Mhm.
got called out by his own mom and his half brother who was a disciple, or is still. I don't know. He said this phrase to me and my little sister at the time. I'm Mexican because I'm from Norwalk.
Mm.
Uh, One, that's so offensive to me right there,
Mhm.
because that's not how it works. That's not, no, that's not how it works. Like, and so he started saying certain phrases like slang a certain way, and we just were not having it. We were all fed up with it at this point. So he knows he has a problem. Like, he came up to me, admitted he had a problem or whatever, but the willingness to change and you admitting is completely different to me. You know, you could tell me you have a problem all one day, but then if you don't change, you really don't
Yeah.
care. You know, so those are one of my the few reasons for deciding to transfer regions. And then it got worse as, oh my god, I experienced the same thing with the roommate too, because
Mm.
one of the roommates in the AMS I had, he's a black guy, right?
Okay.
He tried to tell me he was more Mexican than me because he lived in Mexico for like 2 years.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, so do you have any Hispanics in your family that are not married in, like
Yeah.
like
Like ethnically.
if your family married this person, that doesn't count. He's like, no. I'm like, so why do you think you're Mexican then? Like, you could be honorary all day, cool, great, but that doesn't mean you're one of us, right?
Yeah.
So it was just a lot of the racial insensitivity too, whereas like you tell me, like, you're telling me you're this because of this, but really it
Yeah.
doesn't match up, and I'm like, I'm trying not to get mad at you here, but like,
Yeah.
you're
Like for
giving me.
me, I know. Like I'm very. I usually I make a lot of jokes, so I usually don't take personally to heart a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah,
But like, I mean, it's just like I don't understand why. Like, because the implication is I'm somewhat Mexican because I'm from Norwalk. The idea is there's a lot of Mexicans in Norwalk, right? That's the idea. It's like,
yeah.
well, that's okay. Yeah.
You could be raised up around them too, like whatever group of people you want to be raised around. I had to tell a couple of people this too. Like, that doesn't mean you're one of them. They're just accepting you into the group.
Mm.
Like I get, like, if you saw me in person other than camera, I'm more brown. Right now it's hot in my house. That's why, because it's all cold outside and rainy from the other day. But I'm darker than my mom and dad combined. Yeah. And people laugh at that too. I'm like, yeah, no, because my mom's a light skinned Mexican. She's from Guadalajara, Jalisco, right?
Mhm.
They were yeah. So it was a lot to go off of too. Dude, come on, like, don't tell me you're this because you were born near here.
Yeah.
That doesn't tell me you're like that's just insensitive to a lot of us, which made me question over the past year, like you got these people in the church, all this stuff with ISIS popping off. How are you handling them?
Mhm.
You know, like I'm glad I'm not in there because I don't want to be around to like see all that. You know,
Mhm.
yeah. There's between the racial insensitivity, just the lack of everything. It was there's a lot that goes on there that it goes undiscussed. You know, just I look back at it now as I wasted 6 years of my life with them, and for what? You took my money, you took my sanity. At some point, you almost took my life.
Mhm.
Um, I look back at it and I admit to myself, it was not worth it in any way, shape, or form. You know, um, like you claim to be loving and all this stuff, right? But at the end of the day, you treat people like absolute shit
Mhm.
and then call it love.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
what's up?
oh yeah, like it's so strange because one of the ways that they'll like sell themselves as like true disciple, true Christians is like, well, look at our love, look at how loving we are, look at how good we are. It's always look at how our works, look at our good works.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's a constant cover up of personal experiences that aren't uncommon, unfortunately, and like no one wants to talk about it. Who are people in the ICC or ICOC? Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of allegations, like lawsuits that are public. Like there's a lot of horrible things.
Oh yeah.
Not even just like the horrible things that even like Kip McKean, the leader and the founder, has openly admitted to doing, but like even things that they themselves cover up. It's like it's horrible. It's heinous. Yeah.
Yeah. And as far as because I know they had the child trafficking allegations, I knew none of that, and I was appalled when I saw all those reports. You know,
Mhm.
like I used to lead Kids Kingdom at one point, uh, and no one there was no vibe of that given off in any way. You know, so to
Mhm.
hear that was happening under our noses, it was like I feel bad. Like I feel like I
Mhm.
maybe somehow contributed to that in some way. Like I put myself down in that matter. Yeah, no, this church, even when they had the whole split, which was funny because I had a feeling they were going to do something like this, the whole split again, because we were in a midweek when like a men's midweek in like North Hollywood, right?
Mhm.
And we got the letter and everything. It was read to us, and I remember saying something along the lines of because it got back to me like okay, what do you guys think? You know, I said, well, hear me out. And they're like, I said, how honest? I tell this to everybody. How honest do you want me to be? Do you want me to be honest or do you want me to be honest? Right?
Mhm.
You kind of get where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
So they were like, we need you to be like real. I'm like, okay. I'm not holding back and I want immunity. Immunity mean I'm going to say some things you're not going to like. Things are going to come out of my mouth that uh, should not be said, but you're going to deal with it. They're like, okay. So I said, you can't keep shoveling shit every day.
Mhm.
What I mean by that is you have a group of people you look up to, and now you're shoveling their shit because that's all it is at this point. You know, you covered up for this person for how long, and this is the result. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Come on! I could have told you this was gonna happen. It's when they had branded. I don't think they branded Kip McKean as a follow away necessarily, but it was more along the lines of he stepped down, I think. And
Yeah, yeah,
Raul and Linda came in,
yeah.
which
At first, they branded him. At first, it was step down, and then I think they did something else. I don't remember exactly if they labeled him a fall away, but then they doubled down. Like maybe just a couple weeks or like a week later, they said he was something else. I think fall away. I remember that there was like, yeah, he stepped down, and then something else happened. I forgot what exactly though. Unfortunately, I had him on my YouTube Shorts, but they're gone now.
um yeah, no, I remember that. It was and they said he was going to be like in LA or something. Um I don't remember what it was, but it was something like, "Oh, he's going to be here in LA with us." As far as the was it Jason and Sarah goes, it was I could tell something was up, you know. Like no one pulls that like kind of facade off so well without there being something completely wrong.
Oh yeah.
Um, give me 1 second. What? I'll do it in a second. Thank you. Yeah, I'm still in there. Got it. Sorry, it's my mom. There's food out apparently. We're good though. So yeah, no, I remember Raul and Linda stepped in. Jason and Sarah were kind of were they like overseeing some restoration process or something. There was like a lot of they didn't tell us exactly what sin was happening,
Yes.
but they were just like, "Oh, he's in sin."
Yeah, yeah. It was always super vague with Kip. Even in his even when they were more open about what he did, it was still really vague.
Yeah, no, it would. They never. They gave. What's funny is they preach like you can't lie or you can't conceal the truth, but half
Yeah,
truths is just the same thing to me, in my
yeah,
opinion. Like, dude, like there was a lot of hypocrisy that went on, just everything. Which I kind of figured something was happening. I'm like, I think they're gonna like in my head. I'm like, this is like something's gonna happen. Something's gonna get started or stopped or whatever, you know. I left, and I guess 3 months later, right? So this is like August, right? I'm turning like 27 at the time. And that's when I heard news of, oh, they started posting on Facebook the RCW stuff, like putting it in their Facebook profiles. I'm like, I'm like,
yeah. I remember that was such a cool week for like us outsiders, at least, because
yeah,
like they were
yeah, it
they were going
was.
to war against each other.
They were basically like getting all political in the church in a sense, like if as if it were politics. It was
Yeah,
so
they
fun.
were.
I'm like yes, like I was cheering.
Yeah, it
I'm
was
like
fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie, it
like
was kind
this
of fun to
my
watch.
decision to leave the
Yeah.
ICC. I'm like I
I,
start
I literally saw like family members who were disciples in the ICC divided, and I thought that was so like I was like, whoa, this is like actual civil war. Like I remember there was like a brother, like a son who left to go to the RCW, and like the mom, dad, and a son of them, they stayed in the ICC, but he was like talking. It was crazy, like the son, because I like follow a lot of people on Facebook, like as like people do and
yeah.
disciples do.
What was funny too is because at the time I'm still friends with on Facebook Josiah and Kristen Smith. I just hadn't blocked them yet. It was they did that and then retracted it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what? So what hood are you a part of this time? What?
No, at first it was like you guys are going to hell. It
Yeah.
was crazy.
Oh yeah. No. That whole. I remember that letter. I sent
With
it to
Michael
my
Williamson?
sister at the time. It was like I'm like she's like they're breaking up. I'm like yeah, it's like the Beatles. They're breaking up right now. Yeah.
Michael Williamson, I don't know. Are you familiar with him
Yeah,
in the ICC?
he's the head of the is he still head of AMS or whatever? But
In the London ICC, at least. He
yeah,
was the one. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. At least the part where he said to, I believe it was Sarah Dimitri. I believe it was the one Jason and Sarah Dimitri. They're like the leaders of the RCW. He messaged her, I believe, if not someone close to her. You're going to hell for this, like breaking off.
Oh, I saw the messages. I remember that.
Yeah, okay.
Which is funny too. It's like I think isn't it with the lawsuit right now? They're doing a lot of things to try to cover that up, both sides as well. Where it's like, oh, you can't talk about it, but like you're a victim.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm a victim. I'm gonna talk. I have rights.
Yeah.
Which is funny too, because what's her name? We met through on Facebook. Who connected? What's her name? Nava.
Oh, and, yeah, Neve Hall.
Yeah, yeah. Which was funny. She sent me the whole questionnaire thing so a lawyer can contact me or whatever.
Hmm.
I think that's how it works. I don't know. But because now there's a class action lawsuit, we can finally sue. Thank
Hmm.
God. Yeah, because it was hilarious. Like this is funny too with their missions, how they work too. It's like campus has to earn per person $750, right? When the most amount of money they're gonna see even with a job a week is like 300, and that goes to like whatever they're living off of
Yeah.
already. Which was funny because we almost got arrested in 2018 for tagging. The city of Palmdale had complained, I guess, right? They
The
sent,
city, the whole city.
yeah, so it got to the officials, right? And they came out with cops and like, you guys need to leave. You're basically scamming people. You're panhandling. That's illegal, right? So I decided I'm leaving, right? Like I'm out, and they got mad because I dipped out. I said, "Dude, you got the cops involved. They told us it's illegal and to leave, and you're saying we need to follow the laws of the land, but you're not."
Yeah, yeah. There's so much, and ends justify the means
I
in the
just
ICC. That is one of them. There was constant moments where I would go. We were where we would go to other colleges and campuses that were private schools where we would be kicked out, and then we would eventually come back to to do it again to evangelize there.
yeah. It was such a weird, like I don't think that's how it works, guys. Come on.
No.
What was it? Oh, God, there were just, and some of the places they had these devos in were not the safest at first.
Hmm.
Like they had their basketball tournament in the hood of South Central. Like you're gonna put people out here doing this and like reach out to game bangers now. What
Yeah.
happens when they say no and you continue to persist? I
Right.
don't think you guys have this is like I noticed this like thing too where people get baptized and just immediately logic and common sense gets thrown out the window.
Hmm.
Like, did you not have that before you came in, or like what's going on here? Like, I'll tell like because I have street smarts and I know things. It's like I'll tell them one thing like, hey, you can't go over there right now. Like what was funny is because I don't know if you ever heard the whole LA hat thing where like certain hats mean certain things, right?
Hmm.
One brother wanted to wear a Yankees hat near like I forget, it was like not Inglewood. It was like some location where that's like an enemy hat, right?
No.
That means one thing.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, you can't wear that hat there." He's like, "Oh, that's just the thing." I'm like, "Okay." Now, there is an unspoken rule, kind of, where if you're from that place, it's okay. You just have to like prove it. Like out there, funny enough, in like the southern part of LA, I can't wear a red, or I can, but no one else can. The red and white San Diego hat, because that means one thing.
Hmm.
But I'm from there, so like I can, I'm from Escondido, so like I know, all right, and I don't bang, so but they know if you're from there, then I guess it's fine, like the actual location.
Yeah.
The rules change every now and then. I mind my own business either way, so. But some of the brothers aren't the smartest too. I noticed that there tends to be a lack of consideration for women as well in there. Like especially with the kingdom dates, right? Like my thing is if you don't make at least 450 a week with your job, you should not be going out taking sisters out on a date. You should not. That's just you have zero money.
Hmm.
right? And it's just the like so I don't think any of these brothers have been taught like chivalry or anything because I went on a kingdom date with one brother and I had to talk to the sister after like I apologize on his behalf. Like I feel like I need to as the man, you know, because this guy was like the sister paid for like 90% of his stuff. And I'm like, and you wonder why she couldn't find a man in that church.
Yeah.
Like, I told the sister too, like, I'm gonna reimburse you, and she's like, oh no, you don't have to. I'm like, it's not a matter of me having to. I don't have to do anything. I want to, because that's not fair that this brother couldn't be man enough to be like, hey sis, I don't actually make enough money. I can't take you. I'm so sorry. You know?
Yeah.
And it's just some of the it's some of these brothers are so out of pocket and say things that you shouldn't say near women, you know?
Mm.
Like there we got to one point where this one brother was talking crazy and we were god where were we were like on the 405 or something, I don't remember, but it got to the point where we was kind of talking crazy, right?
Mm.
And I'm like, I'm about to just drop this fool off on the side of the road. Like, are you kidding me? And so we stopped at where we needed to go, and I told them to go, and I gave them the money. It was for a movie, I think. I gave them the money for tickets, right? Like, hey, go get us 4 tickets. Let me talk to him real quick. I told this dude, how stupid are you? Like, don't say that near sis. Like, he was basically talking crazy about like like whatever violent stuff. I forget what it was, but it was pretty violent, you know. And it's like some of these sisters, I've grown up around that, and they don't want to be around that anymore. Like, I told him I was about to drop you off on the side of the freeway, and you could walk. Like that's where we're at with this. So he just stayed quiet for the rest of the day, pretty much after that, because I'm like, you're not gonna disrespect a woman like that, homie. You know,
Yeah.
like first of all, you didn't open your door for her, regardless if it's your car or not. You should have opened her door either way. You know, like you didn't do any of that going into where we were going to eat. You didn't offer to pay for her. Like first of all, I have to tell this to the brothers, and the sisters agreed with me. Like you need to pay for everything for them as if it's a first date.
Mm.
Like you do you think that they're gonna want to put up with you if they have to pay for everything? Like they're the bread makers? No, right? And that just simply comes from how I was raised and the fact that I fear my bestie. When me and my when Frankie were dating, there we would go 50-50 on a lot of things sometimes, like, oh, you pay one day, I pay the next, you know. And it got to the point where she didn't like that, and I respected her for it. I was like, okay. She's like, if you pay for everything, meaning the food, date, whatever, I can contribute to your gas, to like your like whatever else, you know, like the little things. I'm like, okay, that makes sense, you know.
Mm.
At least it's you're contributing in some way, you know, because we're in a relationship at that point. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
where because I thought that she wanted things to be equal, but I was wrong. But and I fear my bestie to this day because any relationship I get into, and if I see her, she asks said person like, "Is he treating you well? Does he do this? Does he do that?" And I'm just over here sweating like, "How's she gonna hit me today?" And I'm just kidding. She's not
Yeah.
a violent person, but she will. She's Latina, so she'll. Yeah, she 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 trained me well. Essentially, we'll call it at that. So yeah, there was just like there was a I don't know what to call that, but I just got on my nerves a lot. Where it's like
Mm.
you have brothers that are making under 1,000 or under 800 a month, and they think they could take a sister out on a date, and they would preach this kind of shit too, and no one just in one ear out the other kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that also is part of a bigger problem as well, like that, with stuff like that, where they just kind of give them too much responsibility and stuff like that to just anyone
Oh yeah.
without any real work or training or something like that. Like that, I think that's a good example with the kingdom dates, the discipling relationships. They just will just make someone a discipler over someone who knows virtually nothing about maybe
Yeah.
anything real life in real life. and then they'll be in charge of them in that person's entire life.
Yeah, and at the time I had pretty good income, so like my thing is like when I do a kingdom date, it's like I don't dumb it down, you know? Like we're going to have fun that day. It's an all-day thing, you know? So whether depending on the season, if it's summer, let's go to the beach, let's go get street tacos, do this, this, and this, and this, right? Make it a good day, you know. It got to the point where they were noticing like he kind of goes above and beyond. He kind of just does like this is his normal, you know. He goes to 100, and that's about it when it turns to dates. And I tell them the reason why, and I told them, and a couple sisters got mad at me for this, but they didn't want to accept it. I said, you guys call yourself princesses, but the men need to be treating you like queens. Like, if they want to date you, that's how you need to be fucking treated. Like, you know? Because, at the time, I firmly believed, like, through the brainwashing and everything, that it was like, well, if they're not going to treat you right, I mean, the next guy on Facebook dating will. It got to the point where I got tapped out of like because I was the main one planning this stuff. Whenever a KD would happen, there'd be a brother that would initiate it, and he'd be like, "Okay, well, I know you're good at this, so you get to do it now." I'm like, "That's not how this works, dude. You want to set it up, not me, right? Tell me what you want, and I'll figure it out. But you need to be putting in the work." That never happened, so I just got tapped out of KDs the last 2 months. I'm like, I can't. Like, y'all don't respect me enough for this. Yeah, it got, and then it's funny enough. What I said happened. Some of the sisters walked away because it was like you got broke ass dudes in the church who don't know how to treat women. First of all, and like, what do you think they're gonna want to stick around? No. Yeah. What was shocking to me was to hear news from other followays who have family members in the RCW or ICC of people who I really firmly believed still that like I'm like, oh, they're never gonna walk away. They're conform to this, right? They walked away. I was like, I actually hit one of the guys up from the AV region. I found out he walked away, but I wasn't so sure, right? So the way I hit him up was like, I have 2 motorcycles non-operational right now. I'm going to fix one of them up and sell the other. And so I said, hey, I got a free bike for you. Like a free motorcycle is a free motorcycle, you know? He's like, oh, I'm good right now. I'm just trying to get my life back to where it was before the church. Yeah. I'm like, before is where I heard like, yep, everything was fine before. So yeah, there's a lot. I completely feared at like for 2024 through mid 2025, right? I was in like panic mode, fear mode, because Frankie had not moved back to Seattle at the time, right? And when I heard about all this, I'm like, oh, they're gonna start pushing regions now. They're gonna start doing this and this, right? My thing was, what if they get a hold of Frankie, you know? But to see a bestie of mine get like brainwashed like that, like I'm not about to let that happen. The only other run-in I've had with them since was last semester because I started going back to college. I'm taking this semester up and I'm gonna go back again. Last semester, one of the RCW people found me like, Quinn. I'm like, walk the fuck away now. Like I told him, walk, and he just proceeds to sit down next to me, and I'm like, get out here. Like I'm trying to get him to like leave, and he's like, I'm like, I told him what happened in like 5 seconds, and I said, don't ever talk to me again. Like I'm done with you people. Like I can't be around y'all anymore. You know? Like cause when I left too, they had harassed at the time my sister, you know?
Yeah.
They were basically causing problems with her, and when it got back to me, because she's gonna tell me, you know?
Yeah.
I confronted them about it, and they're like, oh, there's nothing we can do about it because she's not a disciple. But you're the one causing problems. So it's just a bunch of... it was a lot. It was a bunch of disrespect that went on in there. It was a bunch of gaslighting, manipulation. Uh, there was a lot of brainwashing. You will see it. Like, I didn't want to believe it, but it's very subtle. And this is how they get you is when you don't want to join or you don't want to do something. It's more of them being soft with you, so you think they care. You know.
Mm.
Um, like I still haven't gotten over me being told I was using my dad's death as an excuse. Like that's something that's going to be with me now forever because of that, you know?
Mm.
Um yeah, and then being told that oh, my friend made his bed, you another one for Satan.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I was there for 5 hours up until the end and stood there and just sat there in shock for another 3. You know, God bless this police officer's heart. I don't remember her name from SDPD, but it was a woman at the time. And she was like, she looked at me, and all I remember hearing was, "Don't touch him. He's seen everything. He's in a stage of shock. Don't leave him. Leave him." She was so nice about it. Like, hey, she knew what was going on. You know, like she had
Mm.
that like awareness. Um, yeah. Whereas if it were just LAPD or something, it would be a different story. But yeah, so it was a lot, and it was funny too because when the church talks about reconciling and everything, they don't do it themselves too, which is funny because the incident with Ryan Caceres, right?
Mm.
He was like, "Oh, well, if you need a friend to talk to, I'll be here." Couple like a month and a half went by, right?
Mm.
Um, and I went to go talk to him because I said we need to sit down and talk to this. I'll be there at midweek, you know, like he they almost called the cops on me essentially. Like, but you said we could talk, you know, we could be. You lied.
Yeah.
Um,
That was for the
the
like
tw-
when things got a little heated.
yeah, for in 2022
Yeah.
when he said I threatened his wife and kids or whatever, which I didn't.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so there's just with this church, my advice I could give to people is just stay away. Like they're gonna try everything they do to look nice. What their tactic is now, as far as the RCW and ICC goes, I don't know what they say to you as far as like the history. I don't care. My thing I tell people as well is same people, different name.
Mm.
If I legally change my name to something else, does that make me any less of the same person I was before? No. You just traded one name for the other. Is really all you're doing. Um, and again, that's not to say there weren't some great people in there. There were, but it was not enough for me to want to overlook all the bad. Funny enough, too, everything that piled up to had been like everything in the years had finally come together into one big situation to me wanting to leave, you know? Especially with the sister from Anaheim. I remember I was at this like random cafe in North Hollywood. Forgot what it was. It's off of Lancashire. Oh, there's a Chipotle there. There's a Chiba Hut, like a sandwich shop, and then there's across the way. There's like a couple bakeries and everything. We were at one of the cafes. Whatever. I had gotten a text from this sister. Whatever. Again, this sister has been prone to not be spiritually well. Quote. You know. Uh, so it got to the point of like, what did she say? Oh, because we had different like interests in life, right? Like I like motorcycle riding. I like this kind of music, this, whatever, you know? She said, and I quote, I hate everything you love. Like, I was like, what the hell? You know? So
Yeah.
I said that to leadership or whatever, and I don't know. Somebody laughed at it like, so did she hate God? I'm like, that part,
Yeah.
that part. like this was it was so hilarious to me. It's like I hate everything you love. Damn, I didn't know you could hate.
Yeah, geez.
Yeah, and it was like that part there too was like okay, well, that kind of confirms that like I've overstayed my welcome and I should probably consider leaving.
Yeah.
Ever since then, I've been pretty much doing fine. I do have a lot of PTSD from them. There will be times I kind of just stop in the middle of the day when no one's home, and I'm like, really, now I get really angry and just like throw fists at nothing essentially because of all the heinous things they did, you know? Because I can still hear that one dude's voice in my head of "you ain't gonna do nothing." Like that's a full on threat in my opinion. Like, don't challenge me on that. And it got to the point where the before these the ex sisters at the time were like, "Do we need to go out there and solve problems?" Like they were willing to go out there because they're like okay, like little cholitas, you know. Yeah, so they were really with it. They were gonna get down with them, and I'm like, no, no, we don't need
Yeah.
this leading back to me. Um, so it just I have a lot of I've realized I have a lot of PTSD from them. There are certain areas in certain towns I won't go near now because I know that's where they hang out, and it's like I don't need to be dealing with all that currently. I'm fine in my home city. I know where they hang out in my home city, but it's like that's my home city. I'm not gonna trip. I feel more comfortable there. There's a what was funny too is one disciple almost got charged as a murderer technically. So
No.
so he hit a dude on a motorcycle, right? And it was his fault because he wasn't looking. But at the same time, the rider himself was not wearing a helmet and died on impact. Yeah, and of course it gets back to me, right? Because I'm in that community. We all hear about this stuff, and we're all like, "Hey, check in. Is this you guys?"
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then if somebody knows somebody, will end up.
Letting him know.
Yeah, yeah, essentially. And so when I found out who this was, I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
my god!" And it was somebody here in the former AV region,
Mm.
And I was like, damn. At the time, it's like I don't blame him, but at the same time, it's like you could have had better judgment in driving. But whatever, it's not for me to say anything on that matter, as I am a writer and I want to be biased about the whole situation, but I don't know what happened at like right there.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I think it's funny too. Like it's only how do I say this? The way they are, how they're nice to you, is only convenience. It's very convenient for them when you're like, oh, you've been giving money, you've done this, this, and this. Like the niceness is it has to be bought essentially. It's like I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, it's either for the newcomers or like you've been usually, especially yeah, it's either for the newcomers, people who are just coming in, just baptized, and or usually, from what I've noticed, people who want to go into the ministry.
Oh yeah, no, no, no. And that's the thing too. If you miss Contra 1 week, they're on your ass like a pack of wolves.
Hmm.
Like it's just 1 week, dude. Calm down. You're not gonna go broke. Like, it's like that made me question too, like where my money was actually going. If you're that worried for 1 week, like, And what I didn't like too was people having to give their from COVID at the time their unemployment, right? Yeah, I got that. I got like 5 grand every 2 weeks of unemployment. You know,
Hmm.
um, and their tax refunds. Like a lot of tax refunds were getting donated during missions.
Yeah, yeah. How convenient! It's always during that time.
Yeah, that's what made me question it too. Like you guys do realize tax season is here, right? But like hey, but guess what? We're gonna sacrifice our tax refunds. Absolutely not. No. Like I already sacrificed my taxes to roads that. What are you doing with them? You know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I like. They try to tell us that like, oh, you guys know where it's going. It's going to these guys who are going to plant this church.
Yeah.
Um, you could tell me that all day, but I need you to show me. Like,
Mm.
give us like bank statements or something, you know? Because at the end of the day, it's like
I mean,
here's
that's
the
one of the things that the RCW said that they were leaving was there's a technical term for it, but basically, yeah, the misaligning and misallocating of funds.
misappropriation or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which was kind of like I knew something was up. I'm like, you're not gonna get mad at me for 1 week
Yeah.
of missing contro just because like when my contro is like 40 max, right? And that's the thing too. I look at it like for the people who go in to lead these regions or churches, it's like how do I say? Say they have a good home, right? Like they got 3 kids, they got a good home, and their home's like 800K, right? And they live in a nice area. You're telling them to downgrade to nothing
Mm.
and be like, oh, but it's for the 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 what is it, the gospel or whatever. No, that's not how shit works. Like, if I have a nice home for a family, right? I'm keeping it. You can't tell me to sell it right then and there.
Mm.
Like, but then I see some of these guys driving like Teslas, Dodge Chargers, and Challengers. One guy even pulled up in a Maserati. Forgot his name, but this dude pulled up in a Maserati. I'm like,
Well,
but you're gonna get mad at me because I have. At the time, I had 2 working motorcycles or three working at the time, right? But if I go on Facebook Marketplace for one of them right now, I bought it for 2,700 when asking price was like 32. Yeah, I got a good deal on it because I know how to get good deals. Then the other bike was like max. I think I got like for 4.8K, right?
mm.
But I make enough to do that, right?
Mhm.
And they're like, but you want to complain to me when dude's driving $100,000 car?
Yeah,
Huh?
well, you got to get control. It's their gas needs. Yeah, it needs. They need to
Their
get their
gas. Well, that's the thing too. That's a Tesla. Now don't run on gas, homie.
gas. No.
I need to pay for their electric bill now. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Like, it just there was so much that went on too, and it was like, as a writer, we want to post things we're doing, you know. Like so, oh, I'll pop a wheelie every now and then in a video, you know. And it wasn't even my video; it was someone else's, right? And they're like, "That's illegal. That's sin. You're disobeying the law." And I'm like, and I got so petty with them at one point. It was like, well, were the cops around to see it? But we were. No, I don't care if you saw it on TikTok or whatever. What are you gonna do?
Your baptism was breaking the law. You're trespassing. What do
I
you
was
mean?
trespassing on what? On the 5 freeway over here. Yeah, no, it was like because as a motorcycle rider, like you have to understand, like we our laws are different. They're similar to cars, but they're different. Like you learn in the DMV thing, it's like, hey, you can go up to 12 miles faster than a car technically, because it's for your own safety. You know, lane splitting in California, and completely legal. Um, so we have so say like my home freeway is the 15 freeway. It goes straight into Escondido from there. So say like it's backed up with traffic. I'm still getting there in like an hour, like on a bike from where I am, maybe like an hour 45. That's just because I've avoided all the traffic. I've link cut everybody, right?
Mm.
But at the end of the day, I try to explain that to some of them. And there was a brother, right? I don't know how he's still in the church, but he tried to tell me that lane splitting on a motorcycle in California was illegal. And he's like, I got my class M2. I'm like, M2 license? He's like, yeah, for a moped. Yeah. Like, your laws are different from ours, homie. He's like, well, it shouldn't be legal. I'm like, okay, well, what should and what really is are two different things. He got mad
Yeah.
and told leadership about it. And then, of course, leadership came to me like, why did you tell him this? I'm like, because he's trying to tell me what the law is for something he doesn't know about, you know? It made me kind of think too, like, I think they just like taking words into their own hands, like laws or whatever, just because we had a brother who was a leader too for, I forget what region, but he was like, I'm like, okay, so what do you think about the speed limit? He's like, the speed limit is whatever the flow of traffic is. So I'm like, if the flow of traffic is 80, it's 80 then. I'm like, okay, I respect that. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, a cop's going to be a cop whether they want to abide by the law or not. So there's no point in me holding up traffic and standing out, you know? So,
Yeah.
and especially in Southern California, I don't know if you've seen it, but everybody goes 80 on the freeway. Like, no one. The only reason you're going 65 is if you're a Prius. That is the only reason at this point. Otherwise, you're a Tesla driver, a BMW driver, or you're going 80. You know. But yeah, there was so much wrong with them. It was like, I can't stand the hypocrisy. I can't stand the level of disrespect. I can't stand the level of physical and emotional abuse. And it's like, there have been times this year I was like, wow, dang, maybe I should go back. My life kind of sucks. And I'm like, nah, why make it worse, you know? That's how I always see it. I'm like, why make it even worse?
Mhm.
Like, I look at it too. You know what was so funny too? Um, it was funny. I told my bestie about this the other day, and she's like, so how many dates have you gone on? I'm like, it's not my fault, okay? Keep in mind. She's like, but see, like, the fact you're getting out there again, it means there was no one for you in that church. All they did was put you down, disrespect you, you know? Because funny enough, we joke about this now, and they call it a fumble, but really, I got out of what could have been a worse relationship. Do you know the singer Jenny Rivera? The
No,
name.
I don't.
Okay, she's a Latin singer, right?
Mhm.
I went on a date with her niece. When things were going great, first date went great and everything. Then there was a 180 flip because, again, I have depression, anxiety, and you know, it's. I feel that it's at the person's discretion whether they want to tell you or not. While it is useful information, you don't have to tell somebody that if you don't feel comfortable. You know, that's your
Yeah.
prerogative. She got mad at me and called it a lie of omission. Um, okay. So from there, just things went downhill. We're friends, but like at a distance, kind of thing.
Mm.
And there was a lot of entitlement going on with her too. I mean, I expected nothing less considering your family member is famous. And the way I found out was like we followed each other on Instagram, and I'm like, why do you have almost 30,000 followers but like only 5 photos?
Yeah.
That's kind of was the obvious, but yeah. Um, and it's funny enough is as this goes on, like the more days go on, I get more comfortable talking about my experience with the church to people, especially because I'm a very open person like that. Like, you deserve to know my experience. You deserve to know what you're getting yourself into, essentially, like with the trauma I've been through and all that. I'm talking to somebody else in near downtown LA area, right?
Mm.
Super cool, kind of matches my vibes a little. Probably gonna go have drinks with her next week or something. I guess friends first, and then, but she knows my experience, right? And she's like, "Do I need to fight any of them for you?" I'm like, I'm good, homie. You good? Like, you don't need to do any of that, you know.
Mm.
Um, so I want to be mad at the church still. I really do, but they gave me a really great topic when it comes to just conversation. They gave me a lot. I'm like,
Yeah,
it's like coffee talk essentially. It's like,
yeah. I
yeah,
guess so.
hey, hey, I get to inform people like this is my experience. This is what I've been through. This is kind of the shit I was drugged through. Um, Again, I'm not gonna tell you whether to not join them or do join them. I can't tell you what to do. My whole thing is like I'm going to give you my version of what my experience was and what I've seen go around me, especially with other people, and you can go off your own judgments, go off your own opinions from there. Because at the end of the day, I tell these people too, especially what's been happening in the world. Like uh, everybody's getting killed off for just speaking out.
Mm.
Um, I tell people this: opinions are not facts. You can have facts, like concrete facts, and then have the opinions that branch out and form out from there. But those opinions in themselves are not facts.
Mhm.
And I think nowadays people fail to realize that, and whether the RCW or ICC takes advantage of that point, like, oh my god, like I can hear it already, like they're using this all the political angles to get people in, like people are getting killed off left and right. You'll be safe here, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I can hear it already because it's been done before, you know.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, yeah. Definitely in these movements, they love pinning us against the world, right? Like it's like everything is horrible outside except for here. Here is great and good and safe.
oh yeah, yeah, no, most definitely. I didn't like the whole they're the typical girls can't have guy friends, guys can't have girls or friends type people
Hmm.
too. Otherwise, it's impure. You're insane. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
It was like I have a lot of friends who I grew up with who are females. You know, um, for you to tell me to just drop them because they don't want to be part of the church or anything. That's not loving. That's not loving everybody as you want to appreciate. That's just loving anybody. Um, yeah, this what it could have been perfect. It really could have, but you have too many people who hide things. You have too many people who it's just you're getting broken people to try to fix broken people. Nothing's getting fixed.
Mm.
And it's funny enough is they knew they couldn't work their bullshit around me too, so I could see like the wolves kind of like closing in cuz it's like I'm smarter than that to know like you're trying to play me and it's not going to happen.
Mm.
And so when that doesn't happen, when you don't conform to that, you kind of see them turn on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what your experience was with them at the toward the end, but mine was like the worst thing you can imagine. Like attempted suicide because they kept wanting to fight me and turning on me. But yeah.
No, yeah. With me leaving, it was more something interesting. I guess with you was that you didn't really mention or point out, and I'm sure there's an element of that too. Was the more doctrinal or biblical stuff as well. Um, for me, that was my main struggle, and the ultimate reason I left. I mean, there was a lot of things that piled on. I think that's for most people, if not everyone. There's a lot of little things that eventually accumulate and then gets to that person leaving.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, a big part of it was always like, if this is true, then I have to stay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter what I think about certain things. I just kind of have to toughen up.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, for me, it was I ended up leaving more explicitly, at least for more doctrinal issues.
When did you what year did you leave?
I left 24.
Oh, so
Yeah,
some same year I left.
yeah.
I left in May. Did you leave before or after?
April. Uh, January- I think around February actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, early February. if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Yeah.
And you were Portland.
I was Portland, and then I eventually moved to Eugene.
Oh, with
Um,
what's his name? I can never say his name right. Reese.
Reese. Yeah. How'd you know? You knew Reese.
I've
Yeah.
seen. Well, no, I didn't know him. I just saw him get posted on Preston's page a lot. Him and his
Yeah. Yeah.
now wife, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I had moved to Eugene because I in Portland. I was in Portland. I got a girlfriend in the ICC. I did the building. I did the whole thing, the whole spiel. I asked her out during a church or at the end of a church service. Huge thing. That's how they do it in the ICC. And then she was in Eugene, so then I moved to Eugene to both help the Eugene church and also be closer to her. Um, and then I ended up was going more. So, I was going to the ICCM. Um, yeah, the college ministry
Yeah.
school for the ICC. And then I was like, this kind of sucks. I'm like, I was hoping, I was hoping like this would give me some more theological and doctrinal kind of, I don't know, satisfaction as opposed to the first principles.
What
And then
was that like? What was that like? Because I
it
only
was
hear
ridiculous.
like from the videos they'll show of the graduating class. I don't know what that's like on the inside.
It was ridiculous. I was hoping again to get more like doctrinal, like theological, like, oh, this is like the good in-depth stuff. I get to know more, maybe historically about Christianity, something. Um, and then what it ended up being my first term, my first, I think they call it terms. I don't know what they call it, quarters. I don't remember.
I don't know.
Um, was okay. Essentially, the test is going to be there's a sermon because it was once a month. There's a sermon, and then there's going to be a test next month on the sermon, and the first term I was there, you need to memorize all the ICC leaders' names and where they're at. That's going to be the test.
When these leaders change monthly at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah, and then they give you a book to read. Like it was a Winston Churchill book on how to speak better. And then,
You know what's funny? In my closet in one of my rooms here, I have two of their books still: the 2020 Tim Kerner one, and then the Money one by somebody else.
Joe Willis?
Yeah, I guess.
Is it money is the answer to everything or something?
Yeah. I don't. I've
Yeah.
never actually fucking read them. I've never read them. I just put them in the closet. Like I'm never gonna
I have
read
a couple
these.
of their books over here. I have Prophets. Oh no, not Prophets. Cops. I have this one, which is funny.
Cops was a newer one. I remember that one.
I have this one, The Law and the Sabbath, and it was. I remember I got it at a
Wait,
conference.
who wrote that one? Is that Kyle?
Kyle Bartholomew. Yeah, Kyle Bartholomew.
He was leading the North region.
And I remember exactly why because I bought the book. I was like, it was super awkward. They were just in the back, like a bunch of like the leaders with their books, and I was like, oh, I'd like that book, and he's like, oh yeah, okay, and he's like, it was super awkward. He's like, do you want me to sign it? I'm like, okay. So I have it signed.
Oh my
I don't
God,
know if you can see it.
No, oh, I see it. There he is. Yeah.
I have it signed.
Oh
It was so awkward.
God.
I was like, I don't really want it signed, to be honest.
Yeah.
I remember one time, my first ever conference. It was that. Looking back at it, it was weird, but I'm like, is this normal? And it was a guy. I don't know how old he was spiritually in the ICC. He met Kip, and I wanted to say hi to Kip because I'm like, oh, Kip McKean is of course, he's super famous in the ICC. I want to say hi. And then he went, as I was going up, I was just walking. Like, I'm like, this is just another brother in my head. I didn't idolize him like some people. And then I didn't call him the greatest prophet since the Moses of our time, like some people. But then this one disciple came in, ran up to Kip. It was hilarious. I promise this happened. He ran up to Kip with his first principles and said, "Can you sign it?" Like, what the heck? This is weird.
Can you send of my first principles book? Jesus.
But it was really weird. I met Kip the first time I met Kip. I remember it was just kind of strange. It was he like, and I've talked to someone about this recently, and it is Kip McKean. He's extremely. I very rarely ever attributed malice or malintent to the leaders.
Oh yeah.
I often say that they're also ignorant of the fact, and for the most part, in good. Like I think they're willfully ignorant, but I think that they are ignorant.
Oh yeah.
Part except for the likes of Kip McKean, if I'm being honest. Like you don't just randomly start a, a whole movement like that.
Yeah.
Either of two things. For me, it's either two possibilities. One, you do know what you're doing, and you have to be quite smart to be able to do that, whether you know what you're doing or not. You have to be pretty smart. Yeah. Or two, you're really that crazy. You're really that like insane in your head that you think after you got kicked out of the ICOC, which you founded, you got kicked out of the ICOC, you looked around and thought, isn't it crazy how everyone is wrong except me? Like either you're doing it with malintent or you're insane. Like there's something
And then it happened again.
and then again.
What, 18 years later?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, just probabilistically, you're either one of the two. You're malintent. You're doing this maniacally.
It was funny too. I do the studies with people, and at times I'd be like, "Do I even actually believe this? Like, this? How are you gonna tell me this is what this means? You know?"
Yeah.
There's no private interpretation, but yet we're trying to interpret it to you.
Exactly. There's no private interpretation. With this, the first principles, don't look at that. That's not an interpretation.
No, that's not nothing. Yeah. Oh, you know what was funny? I everybody loved how I would do the kingdom study. I rarely did it because of the fact, like I rarely let it because my way of doing it was completely historical and unorthodox. Because if you remember the statues that that you're explaining, like all the how it's
the
made.
parts of the statue. Yeah.
Well, it's not the way they try to tell you it is power. No, that's not it. There, so if you go back in history, gold from the Babylonian Empire, that's rich. They're wealthy. Keep going down. What is it? Silver, the Medo-Persians. Okay, I don't know if you've ever tried to use gold, like seen like history, like channel or whatever. I don't know, but like gold be used as a weapon, it doesn't work. It breaks easily. Yeah. Silver, not as like monetary wise like expensive as gold, but it's still good, and you can make it into armor and weapons. Keep going down the list. Bronze. Oh yeah, now we're in a middle ground here where everything could be used as money and weapons. Going even more further, iron and clay. Well, iron is going to break gold on sight, so the way this was preached to me was, oh, this is this. They're the best of the best. Then you keep going down, and then they get less and less. I'm like, no. I'm like, I know my history. You're just telling me they're getting less wealthy as they go. That's all you're doing.
Interesting.
Yeah, but they're getting, which was funny because biblically, who was the empire that killed Jesus? The Romans.
Yeah.
And what were the Romans on that little statue? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the last great empire we had.
Yeah.
So I explain it to people. It's not in terms of power. It's in terms of wealth. Like how that statue is. And everybody loves how I did it to the point where they were calling me up like, we got a guy in a kingdom. We got a guy. I'm like, dude, you've been doing with this guy for how long? And like, you need me now? You got this. How long have you been doing it for? Like just my entire design. You got it. Bye. Don't bother me. Like if I'm doing the study with a guy, by all means, if I've been on those studies, I will do the kingdom study for you just because I like it better. What's funny is too, the ones that still are there today, unfortunately, are a product of me and me having to explain it to them in a less spiritual way, but more in a realistic way. You know, it's like I'm not gonna. I tell the people from the, I'm not gonna sugarcoat things for you. I'm not gonna dumb them down for you. I'm not gonna get too spiritual with it, and that's where people start looking at me. I'm like, I'm gonna be real with you. We're people here, right? So it was funny because then they got back to me like, oh, you can't do it this way. You have to do it. Why? If one way works, why does it matter? This is the problem I had too, where it was like we want it a certain way, and now I see why.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I do have to get going soon. I got work in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, was there something you wanted to end it off with, or anything you were hoping to?
Yeah. So I would like to leave my Facebook open for those people who want to talk about their experiences and essentially um oh, hold up, stay in the studio. Whoa.
Oh
Um
yeah, I got that too.
uh yeah, so essentially I won't give my number out right now for cuz I get a lot of spam either way. But I will leave my Facebook open. My name is Quinn Emiliano Yaussy. The middle name is spelled Emiliano. So if you want to reach out to me, if you feel, please feel free to do so. You're not alone in this situation. I know what it's like to be taken advantage of like this, especially in the worst ways possible. And to my bestie Frankie, who will be seeing this, you were right. I am a fool for not listening to you sooner. And you are right. It feels good to get, talk to somebody, get the word out there about this. So I owe a lot to Frankie for this. She's the one who kind of pushed me to do this as well. Whereas like, you should talk about your experience, and other people need to hear this. So get yourself a best friend as well who's willing to push you to that. If you feel like you're stuck in a situation, whether it be with the ICC, ICOC, RCW, whatever church you may be in, just know there are better outlets for you. I'm not saying don't worship. You're free to do what you want. But if you're in such a bad situation with a church like this, there's no point in sticking around. Compromising your mental health, your spirituality for these kind of people is not worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say then.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for having me doing this interview. I really do appreciate it, taking the time out of your busy day.
Oh no, it wasn't busy. It wasn't busy enough, so I do enjoy doing it. But I did. I do have work in a bit, so
All right.
unfortunately, I don't be going
No
soon.
worries.
But yeah,
Thank you so much then.
of
All right.
course.
Bye.
Goodbye.